jobs and grow economy. Makanya was speaking at the Investing in African Mining Indaba in Cape Town.
As they have no idea, we're ready to give young people grants, we're ready to give them funding and capital to start their businesses. We are asking your support to come in and make sure that you empower youth businesses with real business opportunities, and we believe that in the local communities that these businesses or mining houses operate in, we can start to see a reduction in levels of unemployment.
The U.S., under the Secretary of Defense, has told a meeting of NATO defense ministers in Brussels that increased military spending by European countries and Canada will make the alliance more equal. Pentagon Policy Chief Elbridge Colby said last year saw a genuine commitment to have Europe take the lead on conventional defense.
I think we have a really strong basis for working together in partnership, but putting NATO kind of a 3.0 NATO that's based a partnership rather than dependency, and really a return to what NATO was originally intended for.
Recapping the top story, Police Minister Feroz Kashalia has alluded to an announcement that will be made by President Cyril Ramaphosa about the deployment of the SANDF in the Western Cape. I am Onde Lambana for SFM News Headlines at 3:30.
And that news bulletin brought to you by Momentum. Momentum is part of the Momentum Group Limited, an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, they say. But my toaster isn't broken exactly. It just lands my toast on the kitchen floor. You see, some things only kinda never work. Like a financial plan based on generic advice. That's why Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to understand you, and only then apply their expertise. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
In sports this hour, Lena thriving as Kukuna's number one amid keeper battle, and Shanaka fireworks as Sri Lanka thrash Oman at T20 World Cup. More details at 3:30.
Every day, Rand Water's underground pipelines run through servitudes across the country, carrying millions of litres of water to our communities. But when people build too close, it's called encroachment, and it's very dangerous. If a pipeline bursts, it can flood homes, destroy property, and in many cases, people lose their lives. That's why Rand Water marks its servitudes with blue and white beacons, a clear warning to stay clear and safe. When we protect Rand Water's servitudes, we protect our communities too. Rand Water, finding new ways.
BVB's current mission is to stay close to the log leaders and win every match in the second round of the league. Meanwhile, the Carnival Club is eager to reveal their secret plan on match day. This is the Bundesliga, football as it's meant to be. Catch Borussia Dortmund versus FSV Mainz on Friday, 13 February at 9:30 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC Sport on TTT Channel 4. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
President Cyril Ramaphosa will on Thursday, 12 February, deliver the 2026 State of the Nation Address at the Cape Town City Hall. Tune in to the meeting point with Koketso Sachane with a special broadcast from 6 p.m. bringing you blow-by-blow coverage at the 2026 State of the Nation Address. The National Pulse with Ashraf Garda on SAFM. You're listening to the National Pulse, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m.
It's certainly a sonar day today as we talk about the state of the nation, and it's worth just reflecting from your perspective what exactly is the state of the nation. The president will pronounce himself on the state of the nation. You can do the same as well. Welcoming your calls anytime. You can send us a WhatsApp right away. We will certainly cover that to a preview of that. The actual address happens at 7 p.m. as you know, right? But before that, there's no ad hoc committee today because of that, the parliamentarians are pretty busy. But the Madlanga Commission is well on the go. My name is Ashraf Garda. Thanks for joining us on the National Pulse. And let's get to the Madlanga Commission right away. And the witness you're going to be hearing now is Thulani Mngagula, who's the Assistant Director for Investigations at IPID. So let's cross right away to the Madlanga Commission.
While safeguarding personnel, detainees and the public. Following the introduction of the Crime Office nationwide by the National Commissioner of the South African Police Service, I was transferred from the Client Service Center to the Crime Office. This office is a subcomponent of the Detective Division within the structure of the South African Police Service. While working at the Crime Office, my duties included receiving newly reported case dockets from the CSC Shift Commander, investigating cases, gathering evidence, interviewing witnesses, tracing suspects, attending to serious crime scene, and preparing docket for court. I was later placed at the detective unit to fully investigate docket from preliminary investigation to court-ready docket. I was assigned to investigate fraudulent passport and visas as per Section 49 of the Immigration Act. In 2006, I was placed to work at the task team cases at Johannesburg International Airport. The task team was under the leadership of Colonel Mukhale, now Major General in the National Office of SAPS. I was subsequently sent to Detective Learning Program in Hammanskraal SAPS College. In the year 2006, I attended the Detective Learning Program, DLP, at Hammanskraal Training College from 2006-09-04 to 2006-12-15. In 2007-04-1, I joined IPID. At the same time, the independent complaints.
Please start that sentence again from paragraph 10.
Okay. On 2007-04-01, I joined IPID. At that time, called the Independent Complaints Directorate, ICD. It was the same year in 2007 that I was promoted to the rank of sergeant, and I opted to join Independent Complaints Directorate, ICD, as a senior investigator. I was promoted to the current rank of Assistant Director in 2016. I was appointed Assistant Director in terms of Section 22 of the Independent Police Investigative Directorate Act 1 of 2011 in 2016.
Thank you. I think that is clear. We can then move on to the next part of your statement. Here you deal with the IPID itself, but as you probably are aware, we have heard the testimony of Mr. Kiefela Kai, who I understand is your senior. Is that correct?
Yes.
He has testified extensively, I think, insofar as the general powers and duties of IPID are concerned.
Yes.
You confine, as I see in your statement, yourself to IPID Gauteng, and in particular in the area in which you operate.
Yes.
If you turn over leaf from paragraph 15, you then address your responsibilities as a supervisor.
Yes.
With those few comments, can you then start your testimony from paragraph 12?
I start from paragraph?
12, 1-2, at page 3. We are still at page 3 under the heading, the Independent Police Investigative Directorate.
Yes. The Independent Police Investigative Directorate. The IPID Gauteng office is divided into 4 districts, namely the West Rand Sedibeng district. This is one district. Johannesburg Soweto district. This is the second district. Ekurhuleni Sedibeng district. This is the 3rd District and Tshwane District. Each district has its own supervisor. I serve as the supervisor for the Ekurhuleni area, overseeing a team of 6 investigators, which includes 3 investigators and 3 senior investigators and 2 investigators. Within the Ekurhuleni area, there are 43 police stations, including SAPS, specialized units, Directorate of Priority Crimes is one of them, Crime Intelligence, National Intervention, Unit K9, Flying Squad, and etc., and the Ekurhuleni Metro Police. The station have been divided among the investigators, including myself. The Ekurhuleni area is burdened with a high volume of cases. My role is also to provide support to ensure timely case progression as ongoing targeted killings of suspects and threats to the team underscore the critical need for coordinated teamwork and vigilant oversight. The threats in the Ekurhuleni remains a reality which the IPID management continues to mitigate in spite of limited budgetary resources. The contribution of high volume of workload was also contributed by the attrition rate, leaving the current personnel strength having to take over additional burden. And this is compounded by the replacement of investigators taking longer as the filling of position out to go through recruitment and selection processes. The responsibility of a supervisor is to manage and to conduct oversight within an investigative component. The core responsibility generally include oversight of investigators, managing a team of investigators handling cases involving alleged police misconduct, e.g. assault, torture, death in custody, corruption. Reviewing case files for quality legal compliance and investigative completeness. Ensuring investigation follow IPID standard operating procedure and statutory obligation under the IPID Act. Case allocation and workflow management. Assigning cases to investigators based on workload, skill, or case complicity. Monitoring progress to ensure timely completion of investigation. Prioritizing high-risk or sensitive cases. Overseeing the preparation of reports to be referred to the National Prosecuting Authority, NPA or SAPS management, depending on outcomes. Engaging with stakeholders such as SAPS, NPA, forensic services, and community structures. Providing briefings and updates to provincial or national management. As at 31 December 2025, I was responsible for investigation into 727 matters. This is far above the national average of 266 cases per investigator. This figure
Sorry,
is...
can you just stop there? The 727, is it just yours or is it split between the 6 of you?
No, it was mine only.
Just you?
Yes. This figure is made up of backlog of cases, 290 cases, and post-decision monitoring case, 412 cases, creating significant operational burden.
Thank you. So if we understand your statement, is that you are, as at 31st December 25, you are responsible for a total of 722 727 matters.
Yes.
And you say that is made up of a backlog of 290 cases. These are ongoing investigations.
Yes.
And 412 cases which you call post-decision monitoring.
Yes.
What kind of cases do you describe as post-decision monitoring cases?
These are cases which has been finalized, like the cases which has been sent to the Director of Public Prosecution, but it has came with directives that it must still be investigated. So in our system, when I send the recommendation to the DPP, in our system, it will show as completed cases. But the Director of Public Prosecution saw it otherwise to say, Makagula, you have not yet finalized this matter. It must still continue to be investigated. And those other cases, is those cases which are ongoing court cases because it reflects as finalized cases in the IPID system. And other cases also which are awaiting technical reports, like toxicology can take up to 5 years.
And for those cases that are already in court, do you have, is there any role you play as an investigator in the prosecution of those matters? And if so, what is that role?
Those that are in court, if the prosecutor who is prosecuting that case might see other things that must be done, even though the Director of Public Prosecution didn't see, he will still ask me, Magagula, please go and do 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I have to comply with this instruction and still do those things because it is him or her who is going to prosecute that case.
Thank you for that explanation. Staying then on your page 5, you, yes.
Mr. Makakula, where you speak in that paragraph 16, right at the end, you say it's this load of work.
Yes.
Creates significant operational burden. If you could just make us understand at a practical level, how does it play out? You have 727 matters that you're investigating. What is the consequence of this burden on the various investigations, on the files that you're dealing with?
This number is very, very high, very, very high, which one cannot even cope. It's normal 290 cases, which is still active only. And in a year, we have 365 days. And there is holidays, there is weekends, there is leave. Sometime I got sick. So this demonstrates that I might give some cases little attention in a year because during the year, if I effect an arrest, for instance, on a Monday, my 5 days of that week has been spoiled because when I arrest, the arrest comes with charging. I must go verify the addresses of the people that have been charged, and then the people will be applying for bail application, and I must also prepare for bail. So you can see that definitely as a person, I can even get a breakdown because the victims of these cases, obviously, all of them, they want feedback. So this has been created because of those people who were leaving the department. And if one person is leaving the department, is carrying 300 cases, I have a team of 5 members. And in most of the years, the team Ekurhuleni were running short of members. We were not 6. There was a time where it was 5 of us. When the team or when the executive director created that team and asked those people from different provinces to help us, I'm sorry, I thought I have switched off my phone.
Please make sure it's only one phone. You assure the commissioners that there won't be further disturbance from your phones?
Yeah, my phone now is switched off.
Okay.
It's not even on silent.
Even the beeper is off.
Yes. So that I can see that is dark still.
Well, your own phone interrupted you. You are still responding to Commissioner Khumalo's question. Please continue.
Priscilla, I'm still Baloyi.
I blame it on the late lunch, Commissioner. I do apologize, Commissioner Baloyi.
Please carry on.
So, so the executive director saw that we need extra hand. And within that group, at that time, there was one who suggested that you guys from Ekurhuleni, you are not supposed to receive any more cases because we are doing this project of Ekurhuleni. But it was us, it was most especially me, who said it is impossible that we do not receive. Because if myself, Thulan Dlamini, and Nomsa Masuku are no longer receiving those cases, we will be left with 2 investigators, and they are not going to copy with their work because they will be attending crime scene and then they will be attending postmortems. So we are not like the police. When we attend those murder scenes, as Nomsa narrated that we attend those scenes, you have to go and attend the postmortem. So we go inside and witness when the doctor dissects that body, because it's us who have a knowledge of that body. So we are telling the pathologist, what are we looking for from this body? So our 2 members were not going to cope with this. So the capacity of IPID.
Are you 6, is it 6 investigators because that's what the structure provides for, the organogram provides for? Or are you 6 because management is simply not responding quick enough to supplement your 6? Another possible reason is you're 6 because there's no recruitment that's happening because of budgetary constraints. What is the reason that you're 6?
I'll answer this question like this. This is a full strength of the Ekurhuleni. Currently, we are not running short. So the department doesn't have any extra vacant post to advertise to strengthen us. Even those 6, some of those members, it was not exactly the structure of Gauteng. So they are sourced maybe from Mpumalanga, and then they are brought to Gauteng and stay there permanently. But when you look at the details of the person, is still getting a salary from Mpumalanga. So basically, according to me, IPID is under strength because Johannesburg Central Police Station, the whole strength of Johannesburg Central Police Station equals, I might be wrong, equals to the whole strength of IPID nationwide. One police station.
Thank you. Thanks, Mr.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloyi. And if I may just follow up on that, perhaps you wouldn't know, but based on experience, not so much because you are responsible for that side of things, if you say you are a supervisor of 5 other investigators for Ekurhuleni, you are settled with 727 matters alone. To be as effective, perhaps, as would be desirable, what in your personal experience, considering the time it takes you and time required for every specific case, what do you think is an appropriate level of investigator contingent for an area such as Ekurhuleni?
Is to get extra hands so that I can perform my duties as a supervisor, because currently I will not say I'm a supervisor because what NOMSA is doing is what I'm doing. In most cases, also, I'm failing to inspect their dockets because I'm busy on the ground. But the good part of it with NOMSA, most of the cases that she was working with, she's working on, I know her cases. Even if she is not there, I'll be able to respond to a case. There was a time when she was not there for a longer period, and there was high profile, sorry to use this term, high profile, there was a serious case that she was doing and she was not there. I had to take over because I worked the case with her, and I had to go and take the advocate who needed a consultation with the pathologist, driving here to...
Commission for now, not forever, just for now. Right now, let's get the news headlines with Ondela.
Thank you, Ashraf. On the news headlines, the chairperson of the Independent Electoral Commission, Mosotho Moepya, says President Cyril Ramaphosa may indicate a date for local government elections tonight. Eastern Cape Police are investigating a case of rape involving 2 minors from a school in the province. Police spokesperson says the incident occurred while a 9-year-old girl was waiting for her transport outside school. And a Ukrainian skeleton Bob Racer has been blocked from competing in the Winter Olympics for intending to wear a helmet featuring athletes killed in Russia's war on his country. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting off in Gauteng, the M1 southbound in central Johannesburg, slow moving towards Crown Interchange, and there's a crash on the N12 westbound after Jet Park Road. In KZN, the N3 westbound queuing towards Hammersdale, the N2 southbound in Amanzimtoti queuing towards Doonside. And in Cape Town, the M5 southbound has a crash reported before Racecourse Road, and on the N1 outbound, slow moving traffic on Plattekloof Hill. With your traffic update, I'm Irma G.
This is SAFM Sports with Tumi Nkgapele.
Right, Tumi, we spoke about the Cricket World Cup, but there's a FIFA World Cup football that is coming up mid-year, right?
Absolutely. A very good afternoon to you and our listeners. Well, fans looking to resell World Cup tickets are listing them at sharply higher prices on FIFA's official site. A Category 3 ticket for the opening match in Mexico City is selling for around $5,300, which is just over 84,000 rands, compared to its original price of $895, which was around 14,000 rands. For the final, though, in New Jersey, one seat is listed at nearly 144,000 rands. That's 2.2 million rand. Imagine buying a ticket worth 2.2 million rand to go watch a World Cup final. Which two countries would you be willing to pay 2.2 million rand for? But it's actually valued at more than 40 times its face value, and the cheapest resale ticket for the final is just under $10,000, which is around 150,000 rands. While a few tickets are being sold below their original cost, many fans saying that the soaring prices confirm their fears about affordability. Meanwhile, still staying with football's Kukune United goalkeeper Ronaldo Lina says that he is relishing his role as the club's current first choice. This is amid fierce competition from Toaster Nsabata and Manuel Sapunga. Now, Lina has started the last 5 Betway Premiership matches and is determined to retain the number 1 jersey in the Nedbank Cup as well.
It's a team with 3 international goalkeepers in 3 different countries, which all played at the country level. So it's a very interesting competition where we keep each other on our toes. As you could see, Sekhukhune is the only club that played all 3 goalkeepers this season. So it's very interesting. So the player who plays knows the next one there is also capable of doing what he can do. So when you get a chance to play, you have to give your all. You have to be the best that you can, because if you don't take the chance, someone else is taking it. And in goalkeeper, only one can play. So once you lose your chance to play, then that spot is gone and you will wait the whole season. I had experience in football where I could sit 16, 25 games on the bench and never play one game. So now that I got a chance, I just try to keep it as long as possible.
Elsewhere, Nottingham Forest have sacked Sean Dyche after 114 days in charge, leaving the club searching for their 4th manager of the season. Now, Dyche, who replaced Ange Postecoglou in October, guided Forest out of the drop zone with 4 wins in 7 games, but leaves the team with only 3 points above relegation after yesterday's goalless draw with Wolves. And Forest now risk becoming the first Premier League club to have 4 permanent managers in a single season. In the meantime, in terms of cricket, Dusan Shanaka hit the fastest T20 50 by Sri Lankan, powering co-hosts to a 105-run win over Oman at the T20 World Cup. Sri Lanka posted a tournament high of 225 for 5 with half centuries from Pavan Ratnayake and Kusal Mendes, and Shanaka's 19-ball blitz included 5 6s and 2 4s. Anything's off with athletics. Kotso Mokoena believes that Luvuyo Mokoena Mayonga has what it takes to qualify for Team South Africa for the upcoming Commonwealth Games as he continues his comeback from a 4-year doping ban. Now, Mayonga returned to competition after his suspension ended in December 2024 and has shown glimpses of his old form with a series of encouraging jumps. With the qualifying standard set at 8.5 meters for the Games in Glasgow, Scotland from the 23rd of July to the 2nd of August, Mokoena is quite confident that the former world champion can reach that mark again. With that said, it is a wrap from my side. For now, I'll have more in the next hour.
President Cyril Ramaphosa will on Thursday, 12 February, deliver the 2026 State of the Nation address at the Cape Town City Hall. Tune in to the meeting point with Koketso Sachane with a special broadcast from 6 p.m. bringing you blow-by-blow coverage at the 2026 State of the Nation address. Ashraf Garda on the National Pulse.
Okay, we'll get to your WhatsApps when we get the chance. We'll talk Sona later, but for now, back to the Madlanga Commission.
Sergeant Nkosi from Tom's.
Yeah, from Tom's.
Yes.
Those are the people who, when we seek assistance, they assist us.
You didn't have to mention balls. You could have just said Sergeant Nkosi from the Tom's.
I wanted to distinguish because there is another one who has a dark cloud. So
Maybe lastly on this topic for me, does the IPID conduct, and when I say conduct, I mean by way of engagement and discussion internally, a review of your capacity? I mean, if I imagine that the cases that you handle, they grow over time. Incrementally, you're seeing more and more complaints, the matters that you need to deal with. And if that doesn't catch up with the component, the staff component that you have, does IPID engage with those? Do reviews look at where do we need, what do we need to do? What is it, the cases? We are now getting more and more cases at this rate. We still the same number of investigators. Here's what we require in terms of resources. Does that happen? And does it happen formally if it happens?
I will say the management is aware because each and every case that comes to the department, when it is registered, it generates a stat. So they are aware because each and every month there is monthly report seeing that increase, seeing that trend. Like even ourselves when we are working, we are able to identify what problem are we having now. There was a time when there was a problem of this cigarette in Ekurhuleni, where police officers target foreign nationals, which are Bangladesh. It will be EMPD and SAPS, both of them, going to raid the shops of Pakistan, seizing those cigarettes. But to start with, the police officer is not an expert to tell if this is an illegal cigarette or what. So if they conduct such operation, they need to have people like SARS because it is their expertise. So police officers were willingly going to those Pakistanians, seizing the cigarette to get to make as if they are working. They have seized 10 large boxes of cigarette and they only booked 2. And these foreign nationals are vulnerable, they are afraid of the police. Some of them, when we investigate, they end up withdrawing the cases. So some of them, the police, if they are strong, they don't want to withdraw the case. Police can simply go behind and pay back the money because always that Bangladesh will have a friend of police. So they will send through the friend to mitigate the issue, and then it's how cases are being withdrawn, and we have spent a lot of time investigating such a case now, which is being withdrawn, neglecting.
You started in answering my question. You started by saying management is aware. Does that mean you don't have formal review processes that looks at the increase in loads and the staffing requirements and whether you match that? Does it mean there's no formal process that involves the investigators?
It happens in 3 years' time or 4 years' time. We called it Indaba, where all the investigators of provinces comes together and we narrate all our problem to the management. But not all the problems that will narrate there will be implemented. Some will be implemented, some won't be implemented.
Thank you, Mr. Magagula.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloyi. Mr. Magagula, we're still at your page 5 of your statement. And we are starting a new topic there at the bottom. It's headed specific EMPD investigations complained of in the commission. Do you see where I'm reading?
Yes.
Can you please take your testimony then from your paragraph 17 at page 5?
Yes. In this part of the statement, I will address the specific cases referred to by Chief of Police Mapie and Commissioner Spies. Commissioner Spies referred to the following cases to support the allegation that I sought to protect Brigadier Mkhwanazi from possible prosecution and or disciplinary process.
You follow that up then, your paragraph 18 with a list of cases. Commissioners, again, for cross-referencing purposes, perhaps I'd ask you to go to the Spies, or you can make a note as I read them out. Which Spies, I call it Commissioner Spies matter, is listed here. So 18.1, that Pantfontein case is item 1 on Commissioner Spies's table. Hillbrow, CAS 797/03/2023 is item 2. The third, Benoni, CAS 215/07/2022 is item 3. Items 18.4, 18.5, and 18.6, that's the Mayerton case, Brakpan Copper Plates case, and Springs Cobalt case. Those are the 3 issues, the 3 matters that Mr. Kiefelakai spoke of and said they could not find a record of them within the Ekurhuleni police station. So if you could flag those. The next at 18.7, Mr. Magagula has Brakpan murder case. There is a duplication on this list because 18.9, the last one, Boxbeck CAS 241/03/2024. Is that the, and now that's not the, if I may address Mr. Magagula. Mr. Magagula, 18.9, Boxback CAS 241/03/2024. Which matter is that? Please tell me the detail, I will tell you.
This one is
Okay, I'm with you.
Extortion.
It's the extortion. That would be item 2 on table 2 of Commissioner Spies. Then Brakpan, 18.7, Brakpan murder case. It's the case that investigator Masuku has just dealt with. Item 18.8, Boxbeck CAS 262/02/2023 is the case that we colloquially refer to as the Blue Lights case. It was just to Mr. Magagula to marry the list of, to marry this list of cases you have here with the cases as referred to by Commissioner Spies. So I have effectively placed on record for you the cases that you say Commissioner Spies complained of before the commission insofar as IPID investigators are concerned, okay? Then you can take it up from paragraph 19.
My colleague, Mrs. Masuku, was the investigator in the Brakpan murder case 429 of 4/2022, and she has filed a statement to the commission regarding this case and has provided a full account for that investigation. It will not be necessary, therefore, for me to address this case. I will address the remaining cases. Before I do so, it is necessary that I confirm the meeting between IPID and EMPD officials referred to by both Chief Mapie and Commissioner Spies of 6 March 2023. I state that the Ekurhuleni investigation team was requested by the Executive Director of the IPID, Ms. Dikeledi Jennifer Singh, to attend a meeting at Roodepoort SAPS. The meeting was attended by the Executive Director of IPID, Ms. Dikeledi Singh, Deputy Director, Mr. Judah Baloyi, the Acting National Head of Investigation, Mr. Thuso Kiefelakai, Senior Investigator, Ms. Nomsa Masuku, and myself on behalf of IPID. And the Chief of Metro Police, Mr. Mapie, together with his deputy, Mr. Rivo Spies, and Colonel Henny Erasmus of EMPD. I am, however, unable to recall the precise date on which the meeting took place. I am willing to accept the date as stated by Chief Mapie and Commissioner Spies.
Please proceed, yes.
At this meeting, the Chief of Police, Mr. Mapie, and Deputy Chief, Mr. Rivospeace reported that a social media article alleged the use of blue lights on a civilian vehicle, claiming that Brigadier Mkhwanazi of the EMPD authorized the installation. The Executive Director, Ms. Ntlasen, advised that both Chief of Police and Commissioner Speace submit statement in this matter regarding allegation made to enable IPID to initiate investigation. The EMPD team raised complaints with other matters involving officers. At this time of this meeting, the Executive Director had already recognized the resource constraint with IPID. She had decided, amongst others, that a task team comprising investigators from other provinces will be established to support the IPID Ekurhuleni team in matters in the area. Consequently, 3 investigators from Eastern Cape, Northern Cape, and KwaZulu-Natal were deployed to assist in the investigation. Following the formation of the task team, its members, including myself, met with the Executive Director at IPID Head Office in Pretoria, along with other senior managers, to coordinate the investigative approach for all identified cases in Ekurhuleni. Before I address the status of the remaining investigation, it is important to point out that not all cases Commissioner Speace referred to are with IPID. 3 of the Meaten case 72 of 8, 2022, the Brakpan copper plates case, and the Springs Cobalt case. These are the 3 cases that are not with IPID.
Mr. Magagula, I did not quite follow what you say in paragraph 23. Does it mean that you got 3 additional investigators and your number is now 9? Or does it mean the 3 increased your number to 6?
The 3 did not increase the number to 9. The 3 was meant for the purpose of investigating the cases of EMPD. So they were not there to assist us with any other cases if we have high volume of case intake in Ekurhuleni. The case intake which will involve EMPD, yes, they will deal with it. But if it is other cases like SAPS, they were not there for that reason.
Thank you. You are at your paragraph 24 before you deal with the first case there. We are at your page 8?
Yes.
You had just read your paragraph 24, where you explained that 3 of the cases, Meaten, the Brakpan copper plates case, and the Springs Cobalt case, are not with IPID. That's
yes,
what you state
I
there.
Confirm.
Then you continue and you say, I deal with these cases further in this statement, however.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
You then turn your attention to your first case, which you say is Boksburg CAS 262/03/2023. I had already indicated, and please confirm for the record. Oh, you do say. Let me say, deal with that case. You start with it at paragraph 25. This
is the case that is commonly referred as the blue light case. Following on 6 March 2023, I obtained a prepared statement from Mr. Rivospeace and went to Boksburg Police Station to register the case as Boksburg case 262/3/2023. The matter was allocated to Mr. Kulu as the investigator, and he finalized his investigation and filed a negative report with the Ekurhuleni city manager. I understood this report is already before the commission.
And for the record, Mr. Kulu, who was the investigator there, is one of the people who was brought in from KZN. He was not part of the 6 investigators allocated to Ekurhuleni. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Our next subheading is the next case, which is Patfontein, case 86022023. Chair, before we turn to that case, which is going to detain us for some time, I see it's 5 to 4. Perhaps this might be an appropriate place to stop for the day.
Let us adjourn and resume at 9:30 tomorrow.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, adjournment of today's session of the Madlanga Commission. Any reaction from you about what you've heard today on the Madlanga Commission? Nothing on the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee, because Parliament is countdown SONA, which happens at 7 p.m. And I think an obvious one would be for many of us to reflect on what was said by the President a year ago, and then what he's going to say now. And in between that, making the comparison and the outcomes between what was said and what was delivered. Now, that would be fascinating indeed. In the meantime, let's get comments from you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ashraf. Mbongo Sondisa Mboyisa here. Mr. Ashraf, can the president do this State of the Nation address virtually than wasting millions? Like, I mean, during COVID, he used to address the nation via like the TVs, the radios, virtually. So why do they have to waste so much money? Those soldiers should be guarding the borders instead of marching for him there. For what? Was he doing absolutely nothing? Up until we get rid of the ANC, there's nothing will work in this country. Enough with the ANC. They've destroyed the country. Enough. Please, man, can you wake up and smell the coffee and vote out this ANC?
Yeah, but I mean, to be very honest with you, like, what did you expect? There's a constitutional requirement for a SONA. Let's get that right. And there's costs. And I think, as you may have heard, a lot of it is actually media costs, meaning the media costs covers for all the media houses and the technical issues and the cabling, so that all of us who are not physically at the SONA can actually watch it anyway. Now, somehow to link that always to like, just vote out the ANC when there's no direct relation to it right now, I think is a bit unfair, quite honestly. But I get your point. You could say, is that too much? But at some stage, it's going to have to cost money. It will cost money. Right, there's more.
Good afternoon, Ashraf. It's Notorious Mabilane in Sigagola village. Yeah, we had politicians who care about us, they will have tried to advise Cyril Ramaphosa not to go to Cape Town and use a lot of millions just to address us for an hour or so. They try to advise him, just to tell him, just go to Union Building alone and close yourself in the office and address us. We'll listen. We have a lot of problems in this country, but they're still gonna spend a lot of millions just for a speech of empty promises and lies.
Yeah, but
this government doesn't care about us. This government doesn't care about people. They're just going to a fashion show, but a lot of millions gonna be spent. Sharp as.
Okay, but the fashion show, hopefully they're not paying for the clothing themselves. I mean, the MPs and their guests will do this. They'll do it on their own, right?
Ashraf, good afternoon, man. Flores from the beautiful winelands. Ashraf, 7 million rand. For who? For what? Yeah, sad that 7 million rand can be spent for a one-day event, and people are sitting without water, without proper sanitation, without proper roads. Yeah, Cyril, yeah, it's going to be a lot of nothing that he's going to say today. Have a good summer, bye.
Yeah, but let me understand this. I mean, so what are we saying? Look, there has to be some cost. And it's important that we have a State of the Nation address. In fact, even for those who are critical, that allows you, and I'm just using these words to say, well, you see, the president spoke. Look at the nonsense he spoke. At least that allows you to say that. If he doesn't have a State of the Nation address, which is his requirement to speak to us, how would you measure what he said last year? The next question is, so do we need to have a SONA? Yes. The next question is, how big must it go? Must it be a physical audience? It's the one sitting of the different houses that sit together. So that is also a requirement. They're not normally together. They do need to sit. Now you can question whether it's very lavish. I understand that the costs have been trimmed, but speaking to some others the other day, a lot of it is actually got to do with the physical infrastructure, including the media, cabling, and a whole lot of other things too. But I'm just making the point to suggest that we can actually almost have a no event, like just send out just a text message, a WhatsApp to all of us and say that's the state of the nation. I don't think that really holds true.
Good afternoon, Ashraf. I just want to have a commentary with regards to the World Cup soccer game price tickets, or the ticket price of the soccer games or the World Cup. Ashraf, South Africans, South Africans, we like to show off, and this World Cup experience will, to those who will be able to afford to go, right? This will separate the boys from the men. This will show the ones that like to show off. Now is your time to show off. If you can really afford, let's see you there. That's just my opinion. Daniel here in Bryanston.
Okay, well, there we are. I'm not going to the World Cup unless I get sent and I'm working there. Otherwise, I'm not. Right, more to come. We'll take more. So we know that the Madlanga Commission's adjourned. So a lot of focus now on the SONA, but also the nationwide water crises, and then specifically in the city of Joburg because of its economic heartland status. It's a disaster. You may want to comment on that in terms of how it affects you personally and productively. Right now, 4 o'clock, the news with Ondela.
Thank you, Ashraf. On the top stories, Ramaphosa may indicate a date for local government elections, and an Eastern Cape man sentenced to 25 years imprisonment for rape. For SFM News, I'm Ondela Mbana, and a very good afternoon. The chairperson of the Independent Electoral Commission, Mosotho Moepia, says President Cyril Ramaphosa may indicate a date for local government elections tonight. The elections are expected to take place between the 2nd November this year to the 30th January next year. Over 100 political parties will contest the elections. Eligible voters can both register and update and verify their details remotely via the IEC's online portal. Moepia says, speaking to SABC News outside the Cape Town City Hall, where Ramaphosa is expected to deliver his speech at 7 this evening.
The Minister for Local Government Elections will be the one proclaiming an election. But I know that good governance, collegiality would mean that he will, or he may, in fact, take the President into his confidence. I wouldn't be surprised at all that the President may indicate, for example, that sometime in this period, to be sure, that window period is the 2nd of November this year to the 30th of January next year. And it wouldn't surprise me at all that an indication comes from the State of the Nation address.
Acting Police Minister Feroz Kachalia has alluded to an announcement that will be made by President Cyril Ramaphosa about the deployment of the SANDF in the Western Cape. Ramaphosa will deliver his State of the Nation address at the Cape Town City Hall this evening. Civil society groups and residents have been calling for the army to be deployed to fight the escalating gang violence in Cape Town. Kachalia made this remark in Cape Town at an integrated law enforcement parade ahead of the deployment of SAPS members before the SONA.
I am particularly pleased to see members of our National Army here alongside members of the South African Police Service for reasons that will become clear in the days ahead.
Eastern Cape Police are investigating a case of rape involving 2 minors from a school in the province. Police spokesperson Mlule Gimbi says the incident occurred while a 9-year-old girl was waiting for her transport outside school. She was allegedly raped by a fellow learner, a 13-year-old boy. Mbi says the boy made a brief appearance in court and was released into the care of his mother. Meanwhile, the Sterkspruit Regional Court in the Eastern Cape has sentenced a 29-year-old stepfather to 25 years imprisonment for repeatedly raping his 13-year-old stepdaughter until she fell pregnant in 2024. The stepfather raped the girl while her mother was at work and threatened to kill her if she disclosed the incident. NPA Regional spokesperson Luxolo Kyali says the court declared the man unfit to possess a firearm and that his name be entered into the National Register for Sex Offenders.
This sentence should serve as a deterrent to other guardians who are entrusted with protecting children, not to abuse their authority, to take advantage of them and satisfy their evil lusts.
A Ukrainian skeleton bob racer has been blocked from competing in the Winter Olympics for intending to wear a helmet featuring athletes killed in Russia's war on his country. Vladislav Heraskevich tweeted this in the price of our dignity. Heraskevich insists he's not breaking any competition rules, but the IOC disagrees. These Ukrainians attending the Winter Games in Cortina sided with their compatriot Heraskevich.
I think this is not correct because he first of all represents our country and he is a great sportsman. He didn't do nothing like illegal.
I don't know why other performers can put whatever they want on their helmets, but the Ukrainian performer, by showing a fact, reality that happened, is getting this treatment. It's absolutely unfair.
Recapping the top story, the chairperson of the Independent Electoral Commission, Mosotho Moepia, says President Cyril Ramaphosa may indicate a date for local government elections tonight. I'm Mondela Mbana for SFM News Headlines at 4:30.
In sports, the Sour Crusaders launch title defence as Super Rugby Pacific kicks off, and Stellies target swift CAF return after hard African lessons. More details at 4:30.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting off in Gauteng, the M1 southbound in Braamfontein, slow moving towards Carr Street. The M1 southbound in Houghton Estate has a crash near Glenhove Road, and Marlborough Drive in Sandton, a crash reported at the M1 highway. In KZN, Umgeni Road westbound, slow moving through Springfield Park, the N3 westbound, queuing towards Hammersdale, and the N2 southbound in Amanzimtoti, queuing towards Doonside. In Cape Town, the N1 outbound is slow moving towards the M5 Kuburg interchange, the N2 outbound is slow moving towards Bunga Avenue, and Jan Smuts Drive northbound in Pinelands, slow moving towards Viking Way. With your traffic update, I'm Irma G.
You can become a victim of a legal problem: wrongful arrest, assault, uncontested divorce, rental disputes, maintenance matters, or labor problems. It can happen to you. Clientele Legal provides tough professional lawyers for an affordable monthly premium. Our legal team is standing by to assist you 24 hours a day. Join today. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
What's with the camouflage, Dorf?
I'm going hunting. Just me, nature, and my most underrated off-roader, a rental car.
Hunting? You could fit that little car in your backpack, Dorf.
I sit in the driver's seat. Baggage at the back, chairs on the roof. The kudu is going to get in and strap its own seatbelt, Savvy.
Could do with more legroom, Dorf. Go hunt for a new 4x4 at WeBuy Cars. They got great deals.
Oh, shot, Savvy.
Don't be Dorf, be savvy. We buy cars geared for that big trip, geared for you.
President Cyril Ramaphosa will on Thursday, 12 February, deliver the 2026 State of the Nation Address at the Cape Town City Hall. Tune in to the meeting point with Koketso Sachane with a special broadcast from 6 p.m, bringing you blow-by-blow coverage at the 2026 State of the Nation Address.
Hi, my name is Kutlwana Masote, your host of Weekend Sundowner Classics every Saturday and Sunday afternoon between the hours of 4 and 7 p.m. exclusively on SAFM. Now, this is where you get your best classical music jams on any radio platform. Join me every Saturday and Sunday afternoon between 4 and 7 p.m. Weekend Sundowner Classics.
The National Pulse with Ashraf Garda on SAFM. You're listening to the National Pulse, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m.
So let's see, what are we going to talk about? We'll take calls as well as soon as we can, live calls here on the show. Looking forward to that with you, with a very specific focus, but not exclusively so, on the SONA. And I say that because there are things happening around the world as well, and there are ongoing issues in South Africa, and the biggest ongoing issue is going to be the issue of water. And you do know it is when, according to the Times media report, it says that the minister and deputy linked to water, the Department of Water, have been told by the president not to attend today's SONA, but to get to Joburg ASAP, because that city, maybe I'm exaggerating, there's a large amount, I don't know, 30% of the city, maybe no water for a week, some of them 2 weeks, 3 weeks. This is all in the inner city of Johannesburg. It is quite a shocker. And by extension, we know there are many other communities around the country without water. But by extension, when we talk about Joburg, it is that because of its position as the economic heartland of the country. So the symbolism and the direct impact that makes when there's a total stencil of a city. So that's interesting. You may want to comment on that, particularly also if you can share how you experienced it directly. Let's, however, talk about SONA, and we'll get different reactions from different people. Firstly, from the Reverend Kenneth Meshoe, who's the ACDP leader, right? So, Reverend Meshoe, thanks for joining us here on the National Pulse.
Good afternoon, Ashraf, and all your listeners.
Thank you. Of course, different parties have different agendas and different expectations, right? You go into today's SONA with what sort of expectation?
You know what? When I woke up this morning, I remembered that whenever I drive from my house to town, I see hundreds or some places thousands of people on the pavement. And if you ask them what they are doing there, they will tell you that they are looking for jobs. And I'm sure even the president, when he drove from his house to wherever his car is parked, he would see people like that saying they needed jobs. So the high unemployment rate is one thing that most South Africans would want the president to say something about. What's going to be done about it, and where are people going to have access to jobs? We know that government does not have the main responsibility of creating jobs, but to create a climate, a situation, the atmosphere that is conducive for job creation. But when you have such high crime rates like in South Africa, then it does not happen, because those investors don't come because they are fearing for the safety of their lives and their families. But what is most heartbreaking for me, Ashraf, is to see health workers, to see medical doctors in the streets toying and also protesting, saying we want to help people who are in the clinics, in the hospitals, and give them sufficient health care, professional health care. But when we want to come in, we are told by government that they don't have money to pay them. So when government does not have money and you have professionals, you have medical doctors who do not have jobs, then you have obviously you are playing with the temptation or with the risk of all other countries taking our best medical doctors. They've paid money. Some of them had bursaries to study and to be properly equipped to help South Africans, but they don't have an opportunity. And I think this is a crisis that something has to be done about. You go to hospital, you are told they are not doctors. I took somebody 2 weeks ago to hospital. There were no doctors to be seen. Okay, when my wife had an accident for almost 6 hours, in pain, having blood all over her body, they said there is no doctor, and nothing was done to assist her. So it is a heartbreaking situation to see what is happening in our hospitals, particularly public hospitals. That's why I'm saying government has really have to dig deep to find solutions, or say to the public, we are unable, we have tried for the last 30 years, but we cannot get this situation right. Our people need jobs, and they will tell you they need jobs now.
Well, I mean, let me stay with that. I mean, they need jobs now. Government has to dig deep. I would suggest that point you've made, if you made the point, or anybody else like 15 years ago, they would say exactly the same thing, and we can copy and paste that point, meaning that we're not seeing radical shifts in that unemployment. In fact, the unemployment needle is going the wrong way.
Correct. So if unemployment is going the wrong way, then there is something that government had to rethink. They have to come with a new plan. They have to come with a new strategy. They have to ask people who are successful where they are failing and ask for assistance. Now, the people of Gauteng, particularly Joburg and Sandton, are complaining and they are not having water. There are those for a whole week, some 2 weeks. You can name whatever weeks that the people did not have water. And on this one, I say that this was unnecessary because in 1996, Israel, I know some people who say, no, leave Israel alone. The fact is, Ashraf, when you have people in need, when you are not able to help them, you should have a heart, you should be compassionate enough to say, I will ask help from whoever, as long as this person will help my people. But to put your political views and before attending to the needs of the people, I find that to be unfortunate, regrettable, and actually it has to be condemned that because of politics, people who need help don't get help.
All right, so let me understand this part. I mean, now that you've just brought up Israel and your position on Israel has been well documented, right? But let me give you an example, and South Africa's official position is also well documented, right? That let's say in apartheid South Africa, for example, if there was a country that had a serious problem, I don't know, let's think Algeria, I'm thinking of an African country, and the only country that can provide solutions to them would be South Africa, apartheid South Africa, at the same time when they were committing acts against its people. Would it still be wise for Algeria to do any deal with South Africa, or should they say, come on, let's try another country?
If it would be to help their own people, if their people were drinking dirty water, even with animals going to rivers to get water from rivers where the animals are standing there, they weed there, and the people, because of not having access to water, go and drink water where the animals are doing whatever, even in the waters. I would do that, Ashraf, because I would not want my people, the people I lead, the people I am the president over, to drink such dirty water.
Okay. So you would do business.
This one.
Yeah, finish. Carry on.
All right. Let me say this, Ashraf. There was a time when water in our taps, in the early 80s, okay, we were told water in our taps was better quality than even bottled water. So where did we go wrong? I don't mind learning from my enemies. If my enemies are doing a good job, I will learn from them. The present government failed because when the previous government, because of their wrong policies, nobody agrees with them, okay, they were oppressive, their policies were oppressive, but they were able to produce water that many were saying, even the tests were saying, they are better water than bottled water. So why didn't they keep that standard? Why didn't they ensure that the old pipes are replaced timelessly? Yeah. Why didn't they ensure that the infrastructure is not destroyed?
But I mean, here's the point. But here's the point. I mean, the point that you bring up is spot on. Why couldn't we maintain standards? But that's got nothing to do with Israel. That's got to do with poor management in South Africa. And why are we unable to do so? So let's move on then, just before we conclude, around, the issues you brought up, high unemployment, high crime, and you spoke about healthcare workers and, of course, government saying they've got no money, right? The Minister of Health has often said, I don't have the budget for it, right? So how do you hold the president to account? Meaning when he gives his speech today, how are you able to measure what he said last year versus this year and what has been implemented? And ultimately, to be able to create a mechanism that we actually can hold him to account?
You know, Ashraf, our government is very good at making promises, at making policies, but implementing is where they are failing. If you compare what the president will say today and the 10 years he has been making speeches, you will find that most of what he says is a repeat of what he said the previous years. Why? Because he makes promises, but it does not implement. Implementation is where government has failed, and how can we measure their success or their failure? We know where they are today. 10 years to come, they will still be where they are, unless the voters are saying, we are tired of them, they have failed, let them make space for another party that will ensure that we get the services we need.
Okay, just lastly, so let's say if, as you said, most of it is just repeat, what therefore, of all the things, would be just the one thing you want to look out for and you just hope the president pronounces convincingly on that?
Okay, the thing that I'm going to mention is impacting on service delivery, and that is open borders. All right, you see Dudula, Operation Dudula, for example, okay, wanting to fight foreign nationals, many of them illegal in the country, who want to access services. But Ashraf, it is the Constitution of South Africa, the Bill of Rights, Chapter 2 and subsection 27. It says everyone has the right to have access to healthcare services. Everyone. Which other constitution in the world is promising everyone, illegal immigrants, you can come here, you will get free health services? You don't find them. So when these people are saying we have the right to be in hospitals, to access clinics, they are right if you look at what the Constitution says. Now, ACDP this year is going to promote an amendment to the Constitution, as there are some sections that are saying all citizens have the right, for example, to be participate in politics, political party, forming their own political party. Rather than talk about everyone has the right to have access, we need to start saying citizens, so that citizens of South Africa can be prioritized.
Points taken. Let's see that goes through in Parliament this year. Reverend Kenneth Meshwe, the leader of the ACDP, has heard he say. Thank you for your time here on the National Pulse.
This is Dula Sizwe Simelane on the Morning Brief.
Just your overall impressions of how far along we went in getting answers to some of the questions you have on day one of Paul O'Sullivan's appearance before your committee.
The best bet yesterday when I said to him, is there anyone that can vouch for this? Is there anyone that can tell us more about your time? He couldn't actually tell us about that. But I guess that's where it all started. It started with him being a reservist in SAPS, and that's where he got his fingers into the cookie jar and things just got completely out of hand. 1 minute he's got a degree, next minute he doesn't have any formal qualifications, so I'm not sure where we're at. I specifically asked him yesterday, do you have any degrees, do you have any qualifications, and he said no. And 5 minutes later, the same question was posed to him and he said yes.
Geraldine James is Action SA.
Big stories of the day on the Morning Brief. Ashraf Garda is streaming live now on Facebook, YouTube and X at SAFM Radio.
Right, so we're going to get different perspectives. We certainly will, and we'll also have an update on the water issues, particularly in Joburg, and confirmation that senior members of the Ministry of Water and the Deputy Minister off to Joburg, skipping SONA as per the directive of the President to sort out what we are calling a crisis, because just about everybody is saying Joburg has a water crisis, right? Anyway, what about SAFTU, the South African Trade Union, that is, and their Labour Federation? So Zwelinzima Vavi is the SAFTU General Secretary. Good chatting to you as always, Zwelinzima Vavi. Thanks for joining us on the National Pulse.
Good afternoon, Ash, and good afternoon to everybody listening and your colleagues at the studio.
Thank you. I don't know how many times people have asked you, what are your expectations of a SONA, because it's probably happened 30 times.
Oh, yes. And I've been in each one of them for 30 years now. But the starting point to us is that the president should have not asked the minister to skip SONA. The president should fire her straight away, dismiss her for incompetency together with the Gauteng Premier, the Johannesburg Mayor, and the whole board of the Rand Water, together with the Director General of the department. There have to be some consequences for what so many citizens of Gauteng are going through at a time when we have been experiencing floods left, right, and center, too much rain in Johannesburg. The dam is full, the Vaal Dam. The problem is infrastructure that they have not serviced. Now they are saying we need 400 billion rands to fix the water infrastructure. I don't know how they came to that figure, but I do know, just like every other South African know, that we are not servicing, we are not ensuring that the infrastructure, even the one we inherited from the colonial apartheid, is functional 30 years into democracy.
Okay, so I mean, I know we didn't plan to speak about that, but you're saying that in fact he should not have sent the minister to Joburg, but in fact fire the minister and every other relevant stakeholder, including Rand Water and all the others too. How would that solve the immediate problem? If the immediate problem is people have no water in the streets right now.
Well, it will. You will get new people to solve the problem. Surely there are dozens and dozens of South Africans who know how to maintain the infrastructure, who know where the problem is, and who knows where the leaks are happening, and who knows what to do. You can't sit on the job for years and years and only be expected to fix the problem now that you want to catch publicity on the eve of the SONA. We don't agree. We think that the minister should have been asked to go home rather.
Okay, let's then talk about the SONA. What are your expectations this time around?
Well, the first thing is that we are in a crisis, and the problem we're speaking about now of water is not the only crisis. The biggest crisis we're facing in South Africa is that of mass unemployment, which SAFTU now refer to as an emergency. It's been like this since we were in the apartheid era. We inherited this. The problem has gone even worse in 30 years of democracy. Our municipalities are collapsing. The infrastructure is deteriorating. The services are unaffordable, including water, electricity. People are experiencing hunger. 20 million South Africans are forced to skip a meal a day because they can't afford it. According to SALRO, the University of Cape Town, 62% of the South African population is living below the upper bound poverty level of 1,558 rands. The recent Pietermaritzburg Economic Group report tells us for a nutritious food, you require at least 6,000 rands just to cope. And so we all know what is the crisis. We are facing a crime problem. We pick up 64 bodies every day. Our criminal justice system is dysfunctional, only able to convict 11% of the people accused of committing murder. We have a declining public services, where there is education, healthcare. There are 3,000 people who are waiting for cancer treatment in Gauteng alone. You can imagine what is happening in the province where I come from, the Eastern Cape, the Northern Cape, the rural provinces. So it's a crisis. The president can't regard this as another ceremonial occasion for him to get the attention of the country. He must say, here are the problems we all know. Here is the plan that we have to fix the problem. And the first thing that he must admit, in our view, is to say that, look, the economic programs we've been following for the past 30 years have simply failed us, dismally so. There will be no growth of the GDP under the conditions of austerity. You can't be cutting budgets left, right, and center to the point that you have no capacity in the state to even monitor your own borders. We only have 37% of the staff we need in the Home Affairs, and thereafter we ourselves encourage xenophobic clashes between our people, because automatically when you have allowed 6,000 unsealed mines, the people from the neighboring countries who used to be working in those mines will come back because they know it is so attractive. There is no strategy to stop illicit trade, no strategy to stop illicit finances, no strategy to stop things that are going underground in this economy. We are losing the British American tobacco because 75% of all cigarettes we now have in the economy are produced in the illicit trade market. This is signs of a collapsing state that have no capacity. No wonder we keep on getting our kids dying from pesticides that are mixed up with food in the spaza shops, because we do not have capacity in the Department of Health to ensure that we protect our children and our
all right,
people.
Let's conclude with this. I mean, first of all, it's the second GNU SONA, and maybe you can just comment on that. But in a maximum of 1 minute, just touch on. You spoke about. I mean, clearly, a lot of your focus naturally would be on unemployment issues and the mass unemployment, right? But considering that point you made, there's infrastructure breakdown, and they actually say they have no money. What would you be looking for from a president who, it's like telling someone who has no job, who's unemployed, to try and build a new house? So are we not in that situation now? We need a new house, but effectively the country is unemployed, as in SA Inc., with no money. How is one expected to turn that around?
Take hard decisions. This government dropped the corporate taxes from 52% in their highest point in 1992. They are now at 26%. That's billions of rands that you would have used to build infrastructure to maintain what we inherited from the colonial apartheid era. This government appointed a judge to look at what's happening to the taxes of South Africa, and it put a recommendation that says you are losing 50 billion rands annually to tax dodging schemes of corporates. This government's head of procurement have told us that we're losing between 35 and 40% of our procurement budget to corruption and fraud. This government is in possession of a Thabo Mbeki report commissioned by the African Union that says this economy is losing between 300 and 400 billion rands in illicit cash outflows, mispricing, and all manner of schemes by big capital to dodge their responsibilities.
All right.
If you were to empower SARS to chase that money, we will not be complaining about the government that doesn't have resources to fix the problems in hand.
All right. Just quick yes, no. You're saying the president must take hard decisions. Do you think he's going to take hard decisions? Just simply yes, no.
No.
Okay. Let's leave it at that. Zwelinzima Vavi, much appreciate your time here on the National Pulse. And we'll certainly get reaction after SONA. I have no doubt about that. Let's get the news headlines with Tondela.
Thank you, Ashraf. On the news headlines, families of the victims of apartheid-era human rights violations say they feel betrayed by the democratic state in their quest for justice for their loved ones. The chairperson of the Independent Electoral Commission, Mosotho Moepia, says President Cyril Ramaphosa may indicate a date for local government elections tonight. And Zimbabwe's National Democratic Working Group has petitioned the African Union to intervene to stop ZANU-PF from amending the constitution to extend President Emmerson Mnangagwa's term of office. A full update follows at the top of the hour with Greg House.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting off in Gauteng, the N3 northbound in Bedfordview slow moving on the link to the N12 east at Kiluli's interchange. Mansfield Avenue northbound in Pretoria has a crash at Van Renen Street, and Rivonia Road northbound a crash at 12th Avenue. In KZN, the M4 southbound slow moving towards the N2 highway exit. The M4 has roadworks reported with traffic restrictions between La Mercy and Mdloti and a stationary vehicle on the N3 southbound after Shongweni interchange. In Cape Town, the N2 Nelson Mandela Boulevard outbound has heavy traffic at Hospital Bend due to a mountain fire and smoke affecting visibility. Main Road has heavy traffic through Claremont and Stellenbosch Arterial Road eastbound in Kells River, slow moving towards Noyensfontein Road. With your traffic update, I'm Irma G.
This is SAFM Sports with Tuming Kapele.
Right to me, I had a long chat today about the Springboks, but I'm not talking about them. Let's talk about Super Rugby.
Let's do that. The Crusaders begin their Super Rugby Pacific title defence against the Highlanders tomorrow in Dunedin, fielding a squad with 11 All Blacks under captain David Havili. Coach Rob Penny's side are chasing a record 14th crown after beating the Chiefs in last year's final. New Zealand skipper Scott Barrett is absent on a sabbatical. In terms of football, Stellenbosch FC defender Sivuye Nkwali says that the club has drawn valuable lessons from the CAF Confederations Cup campaign and are determined to use the experience as fuel in their push to return next season. The Winelands side will conclude their group stage journey with a dead rubber clash against Tanzania's Singida Black Stars on Sunday, having already been eliminated from the competition. And speaking after Stellies were drawn against Golden Arrows in the Nedbank Cup last 16, Nkwali reflected on the key takeaways from their African adventure and motivation it has provided.
In the continental, with this, the level is a bit higher, and like the physique also. So we have learned that we have to be strong, more stronger, and the level we play on a high tempo. So yeah, that's the positive side from. Yeah, it is a target from, because especially at the start of the season, our goal is to play every tournament or cup that is there that we can play. So now that the Nedbank is there and the league, we will challenge for it to win it, or in the league at least get to the top 4 or 3.
Elsewhere, Thomas Tuchel has extended his contract as England manager through to Euro 2028, keeping him in charge of for the home European Championship hosted across the UK and Ireland. Now, Tuchel, who took over in January 2025, says that he was very happy and proud to continue, calling the chance to lead England into a home Euros a rare opportunity. In tennis, Tommy Paul advanced to the round of 16 at the Nixo Dallas Open with a hard-fought comeback victory over American Jensen Brooksby. Now, the fifth seed rallied from a set down, forced to win 4-6, 6-4 and 7-5 in an all-American round of 32, and he needed just 3-set tiebreak to seal victory at only ATP Indoor Championship in the United States. In the meantime, Stan Wawrinka added another highlight to his farewell season with a 6-3, 6-4 win over Thijs Bogaert in the Rotterdam Open first round. The match featured one of the largest age gaps in ATP, with the 40-year-old Swiss veteran overcoming the Dutch lucky loser, who's only 17. And finally, in golf, Martin Kaymer, who's captain of Cleeks Golf Club, has withdrawn from Live Golf Adelaide with a left elbow injury. The 41-year-old, who is a two-time Major winner, joins Phil Mickelson and Lee Westwood in missing the event. And Kaymer says that recovery is going well and he expects to return for Live Golf Hong Kong. And John Caitland will step in as his replacement. On that note, it is a wrap from my side for now. I'll have more in the next hour.
Get Spar super savings at every store, in every aisle, every day. Like 2-litre Sparletta, twist or iron brew, any 2 for 28. Save 8 Rand. Or 200-gram Baker's Blue Label Mori biscuits, any 2 for 32. Save 12 Rand. Now that's super savings. Prices valid from 9 till 22 February. While stocks last, only at Spar. T's and C's apply.
President Cyril Ramaphosa will on Thursday, 12 February, deliver the 2026 State of the Nation address at the Cape Town City Hall. Tune in to the meeting point with Koketso Sachane with a special broadcast from 6 p.m., bringing you blow-by-blow coverage at the 2026 State of the Nation address. Koketso Sachane on SAFM.
Is this the last of what we see as action against John Steenhuisen moving forward, or should we anticipate something post April after the FedEx Council?
So after the FedEx Council, what we must look out for is his Harvard moment. Remember, what happens to somebody who has been the leader of a party? If you are there after an election of a new leader, then it means there's a power apart from the center that must hold the party together that is looming in the periphery, countering whatever message that the leader is putting out. And so when you're thinking just about the optics of having a leader as a loose cannon inside the party, you even see the influence of Helen Zille inside the party when thinking about John Steenhuisen and his leadership. Everybody had doubted every single decision that he takes.
The Meeting Point.
Right, South Africa's leading fuel company, Engen, part of the Vivo Energy Group, will be at the Investing in African Mining Indaba, showcasing how partnership and technology are reshaping modern mining. From secure fuel and lubricant supply to AI-enabled equipment, monitoring and predictive maintenance, Engen and Vivo Energy are helping mining operations improve uptime, manage costs, and build long-term resilience. So visit the Engen and Vivo Energy stand at Q38 at the Mining Indaba 2026, where smarter mining meets stronger partnerships. Because mines are always moving, we're always moving.
Economic news on SAFM. Facts and figures you can count on.
Right, Makwe Masilela is with us from Makwe Fund Managers. Makwe, you've got news about AB InBev.
Yes, the largest brewer in the world, revenue up 2% compared to that of Heineken, which was down 4.7%. Their volumes are down 2.3%. Heineken's volumes were down 1.2%. But their normalized overall financial performance is EBITDA up 4.9%. And their profit as headline earnings per share up 18%. Ashraf, AB and Bev offset a fall in volumes in Western markets with growth when it comes to Africa and South America, alongside a stronger sales of premium beer. AB and Bev upbeat update comes just a day after rival Heineken surprised us by announcing plans to cut up to 6,000 jobs. That's about 7% of its workforce, as it's trying to cope with an industry-wide slump when it comes to beer demand. And yes, a better than expected US labor report was a relief that the economy is still solid, but it dampened hopes of rapid interest rate cuts. Maybe tomorrow's inflation data will change that outlook. And Trump's tariffs policies suffered their strongest political blow yet, with the Republican-led U.S. House passing legislation aiming at ending the president's levies on Canadian imports. But it is almost certain that Trump will veto any bill calling for a repeal of his tariff agenda. And locally, our December mining production rose by 2.5%. That's after falling by 2.4% in November. But our manufacturing activity fell by 1.4%, marking a 2-month downturn. That's after declining by 2% in November. And we know later tonight is our SONA, and we would like to hear reforms and actions, not plans and proposals. And oil prices falling after the International Energy Agency reduced demand forecast for 2026 against potential escalation of US-Iran tension. Brent crude is down 1% at $68 a barrel, and the tempered Fed rate cuts expectation because of strong US job data led the yellow metal to lose some of its shine. It's down 0.3% at 5,067. Platinum down 1% at 2,123. Global stocks rising on the back of the right reasons, that is good company earnings, with the JSE up 0.5%. And this time it's our industrials and financials doing the heavy lifting. And the rand firmed 0.1% against the dollar, 15.82, 21.59 against the pound, and 18.79 against the euro.
For that, Makwe will connect again with you tomorrow. And there's no markets today on SFM's market update because of the SONA, because there's a build-up to the SONA itself, right?
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide, leading the conversation.
I mean, just a quick thought about, amongst the things Zwelinzima Vavi said about water. He said the decision by the president to send the Minister of Water and Sanitation, Phemi Majordina, and others to, skip SONA but sort out Joburg's water crisis, he doesn't agree with it. What he thinks should be done is the minister and other relevant leaders should be sacked. They should be fired. I wonder if you agree with him on that issue. Right, talking about water, we'll pick up some sound on that just now. But let's talk about SONA once again with the Al Jamaa, and we continue this build-up with us now. The sound that we're going to play from Al Jamaa's MP Imran Musa, and these are his and his party's expectations for SONA.
Al Jamaa's expectations for the State of the Nation address are clear and principled. We expect the President to address growing concerns around South Africa's immigration and refugee policy, particularly the emerging support for the ICE-style approach. Refugees, asylum seekers must be treated with kindness, dignity, compassion, and in line with our Constitution. The current white paper on immigration contains serious contradictions that risk undermining South Africa's moral standing, our constitutional ethos, and even our international legal positions. Al Jamaa expects the President to reaffirm South Africa's historic commitment to African and international solidarity, rooted in the support we ourselves received during the anti-apartheid struggle. We further expect clarity that restrictive doctrines such as the so-called first safe country principle have no basis in international refugee law and are inconsistent with African countries' conventions. Finally, we expect progress on the recognition of Muslim marriages as required by the Constitutional Court. This is a matter of dignity, equality, and justice for thousands of South Africans. I thank you.
There we are. That is the views of, the Al Jamaa party's Imran Musa. Right now, you can add your own comments, by the way, to all the things we've had. We've had the Madlanga Commission today. Any thoughts that you may want to pick up on that? That's absolutely fine. But also, again, SONA, what do you remember, in fact, of what the President said at SONA last year? As an example, what sticks out for you? And I do think that what would be the most effective SONA for me would be not simply a talk, but to literally do a scoreboard, like a presentation. You know how a company CEO delivers a presentation. You say, a year ago, we wanted to do all these things. So this is what we've done. This is what we have not done. And literally go through that scoreboard and then make the next commitment to what you're going to do next. That's the type of SONA I would love to be able to attend and watch. Okay. In the meantime, we do have a water problem in South Africa, a crisis certainly, and a definite crisis in the city of Joburg. So the Water and Sanitation Minister, Phemi Majordina, together with the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, Velenkosini Glabisa, addressed residents and their frustrations over ongoing water outages in many Johannesburg suburbs. So we picked up some of the key moments from that briefing. One, the minister spoke about technical engineering expertise needed.
So this is part of our intervention, and we must be on records to say the technical capacity in terms of water engineers is needed a lot, because we seated here, we cannot be in the position to respond on each and every mechanical and engineering shortfalls. Unless we are given a report, then we advise accordingly. That is why we managed to approve the water soft locking, because the engineers met and say the way to go is to shift water from this side to that other side, and we have since seen that that is now bearing fruit. That is why there's one system which was standing at 8%, but today we're talking 54% because of the two restrictions that we have started implementing, that of load shifting as well as soft locking. So over the night, then the systems managed to give us more water.
Right, that's one thing. The minister then continued, that's Phemi Majordina, she says, and listen to this one, regarding Joburg. The city of Joburg needs to build new water reservoirs, saying construction has already started on some, but it needs more.
Talking about that let's build more reservoirs to have enough water storage should such incidents of collapse happen. At least we must have water that takes us for 48 hours to 72 hours. But also they are very much concerned about illegal connections, decaying infrastructure, because the infrastructure, the Johannesburg is an old city. So the infrastructure is now giving up. This morning, we visited 3 critical sites, and we added the 4th one, which is under construction. The city of Johannesburg needs about 24 to 25 new water reservoirs. They've already started in building 19 reservoirs, but the one that we visited today is the 20th, adding to the 19th that they are busy rehabilitating. Others, they are increasing the capacity. And our report, both from Rand Water as well as Joburg Water, is that most of our systems, the reservoir system, is now stabilized, ranging from 40% to 90% in terms of water supply.
I think there was originally a plan about 400 billion rands needed. That means a complete massive shortfall. So what's not clear in terms of these long-term plans is, like, at this point in time, how do we switch the water on? Because right now, in fact, still in many suburbs in Joburg, the water is not flowing. Now, the minister then referred to that to a degree, speaking about Joburg's problems of replacing old pipelines.
The city of Johannesburg is already having a plan on the replacement of the old pipelines, mainly the asbestos pipelines. But they don't have enough financial muscle to do all that. They've made an appeal in our meeting to the Minister of COGTA and Minister of Treasury, that the Minister of Finance and Minister of COGTA should assist this municipality to be able to replace these old and ailing water pipelines. However, they have also started to ring-fence water sales to reinvest that water sales to the water infrastructure. But even that is not enough because of the long pipeline that City of Johannesburg has. And we are going to support them in engaging National Treasury to see how far can National Treasury go. But the President, having established the support on Joburg Water with private sector, we are also going to engage them to say how far can we go in terms of ensuring that we prioritize, especially the water pipelines that feed to the reservoirs that are very critical in our metro. The city of Johannesburg, as it explained yesterday, they are 90% ready on the Brixton water reservoir, which is one of the biggest reservoirs that they've constructed. And once that is done, there will be a lot of relief. So we want to urge our communities to work with City of Johannesburg, to work with Joburg Water, as we are trying to restore the entire system, that they must get water as they used to.
I think the question has been asked, like, when you say work with the city, how do they work? And then it's been also said, reduce consumption. People are saying, how do I reduce consumption when I'm not consuming anything, because there is no water? I mean, there's just something there. There's plans of repair, but there's still nothing that really speaks to, like, hey, we are able to switch on. Now, the COGTA minister is Nkosini Hlabisa, and he says a disaster classification is only considered when a problem becomes too large for a department to manage. Now, this is in response to the ongoing call that, in fact, Joburg has a water crisis. Joburg, and it has to be declared a national disaster, as has been said by many different organizations. Okay, so here's his thoughts.
Way to your direct question as to when do you determine a classification or a declaration. You reach a stage of classification or declaration when the problem is too huge that you are unable to respond immediately as a dedicated department, because once you classify or declare, you activate all other departments to come on board. The report that we have presented here is that currently the reservoirs are at a stable level in terms of the available water, and water is starting to be distributed to various communities. Therefore, going a route of a classification or declaration now would not be the right way to go while we are putting a target of the weekend, Sunday, that almost all areas should be receiving water by then. Then therefore, when do you determine is when you can respond now. While you are able to respond, it may not be a right approach to declare, because we shouldn't be declaring for the sake of declaring. We should only declare when we feel, mobilize all other sectors at a government level to come on board on a problem you are experiencing at that particular moment. For now, we are of the view we are well underway to resolve the crisis, as we have put timelines which we'll be monitoring together.
We are well on the way to resolving the crisis, according to the Kokta minister. Right, comments from you. Happy to pick that up. In fact, there's calls that we can pick up as well. So let's go to Cape Town first. Alex, hi.
Hi, Ashraf. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
Look, I think the Kokta heads, as well as Zelimi Ravavi, are not seeing the fact that the current departments that are actually doing this work are incapable of doing it. So I don't understand how Zelimi Ravavi's idea of taxing the rich more is going to make things any better. In fact, it is going to make things worse. People are going to get out of this country, and the money, the assets, the capital is going to flee. Let people get directly involved with sorting out issues. Take it out of the hands of the government. Let them do what they do not so badly, and let public people create public companies that have a specific mandate, that train people to do the work. They can interview some of the department's people, and they can fire the ones that don't know how to do the work, and let them fund it themselves and fire their own people. Because at this point, South Africa can't rely on a centralized government as far as I'm concerned. They are pathetic. And we are going to people are dying in squalor. I drive in Cape Town, and it is disgusting. And people talk about Cape Town like it's some fantastic city. There are people living in absolute disaster. And the government are squandering every cent. If you give them more money, they will just lick their lips and continue doing what they're doing.
Okay, point taken, yeah.
I think also that the legal system should be privatized, and they should allow people to pay for people that they know that are criminals to go to jail. And that would also help a lot.
So what should be privatized, did you say?
The legal system. I think people should be allowed to get directly involved in prosecuting. I don't know how it works exactly, but I think there are certain people that understand, like Roberta, who got murdered for. I mean, she could have fundraised and probably prosecuted all those people involved without the current structures taking over.
Okay, got that. Perfect. I mean, thanks for that, Alex. I mean, here's the thought about that I think Vavi did, in fact, say they must be fired. So he did say they must be replaced. That's on the water issue. The longer term, he felt that the monies must come from, taxing those big companies from the 52% that were getting taxed before. And maybe there, Alex, I would agree that, you can't overtax because then you just make it very unattractive for big business, especially to be in business. They just move offshore. They just take their businesses elsewhere. But there has to be more growth. And I mean, that broadening of the cake we hear about so often, we don't see it enough. So thanks for that. We go to Bloemfontein now. Love that we cross the country. Impo, hi.
Hi, yes, sir.
Good. Right, your point.
Yes, I just wanted to say that, there are SONA, I understand the importance of SONA, but it's a waste of time and money. It could just as well be done via visual, because, it has become a ceremonial event. There's nothing that the SONA, most of the things that have been spoken there, it's like say a rhetoric, things that are not important. They are important, but they are not happening. It's just a poetic session.
So what should it be replaced with then?
No. SONA, we are tired of talk shops. SONA is a talk shop. People must start working. The politicians must start doing what they are supposed to be doing. And I don't even understand why are they paid so much while they are volunteers.
But wouldn't you call a SONA a report back?
Sorry?
Wouldn't you call the SONA a report back?
No. We don't need a report. We know where South Africa is. And nothing is moving. It's a snail movement. So we understand. People of South Africa are so clever. We understand where we are. We don't need somebody to give us progress. What we need is things to happen.
All right. Got that. Thank you. Thank you for that. And Paul, thanks. We're going to move on. Appreciate it. There's comments we've had from the conversation with the Reverend, right? Meshe.
Hi, Ashraf. Good afternoon. Bafana here from Nkwenkwe. I wonder why is Reverend Mishwe referring to the government? Is he not part? What is he opposing? Because in fact, if you oppose, you must come with solutions. It doesn't help him. He must just go to the pulpit and preach the evangel, not the politics. It is not good in politics. He is part of the government. This is what I say.
Well, you could ask another question. How effective has he been in government, him and his party, the African Christian Democratic Party? Lots of other comments about the SONA and about water too, which we'll take on the other side of the news at 5 years. I think it's Greg. It should normally be Greg.
Indeed, thank you, Ashraf. Families of apartheid-era crimes speak out and police disperse students at Nelson Mandela University. Good day to you. The families of the victims of apartheid-era human rights violations say they feel betrayed by the democratic state in their quest for justice for their loved ones. This is communicated on their behalf by Thembi Simelane, the Minister for Human Settlements, and the sister of Nokuthula Simelane, a struggle activist who disappeared after being abducted and tortured by the apartheid security branch in 1983. Simelane is the first witness at the inquiry that is probing alleged efforts to stop the investigation and prosecution of TRC cases. Simelane told the inquiry of endless excuses, lost dockets, and years of non-investigation on the part of the police and the NPA.
Ultimately, we feel betrayed. I feel betrayed myself as well. The state has betrayed us. I'd hope the old system may not do anything, but I'd hope that the new system will at least give me the truth, which is what the TRC promised us. Nothing else, just the truth. It is, and it has been a very lonely journey. In some instances, we are being made to feel like, why don't you just forget, move on? I've tried so many times, but I sit with the 85-year-old mother who has not buried her child, and I simply can't forget.
The IEC chairperson, Masutu Mwepa, says President Cyril Ramaphosa may indicate a date for local government elections tonight. The elections are expected to take place between the 2nd of November this year to the 18th of January next year. Over 100 political parties will contest the polls. Eligible voters can both register and update and verify their details remotely via the IEC's online portal. Mwepa was speaking to the SABC outside the Cape Town City Hall, where Ramaphosa is expected to deliver his speech at 7 p.m. this evening.
The Minister for Local Government Elections will be the one proclaiming an election. But I know that good governance, collegiality would mean that he will, or he may, in fact, take the President into his confidence. I wouldn't be surprised at all that the President may indicate, for example, that sometime in this period, to be sure, that window period is the 2nd of November this year, to the 30th of January next year. And it wouldn't surprise me at all that an indication comes from the State of the Nation address.
Police in a private security company have used rubber bullets to disperse demonstrating students at Nelson Mandela University in the Eastern Cape. They were demonstrating over NSFAS-related issues and online registration. One of the affected students is Musa Koza.
We are facing the clearance SMS. Most of students didn't get the clearance SMSs, and the concession this year has rejected. The down payment has rejected everyone. That I don't know what happened to the system.
This was the response from university spokesperson Zandile Ngwendu.
Mandela University management has been actively engaging the Student Representative Council. Matters that were previously raised as demands have been addressed, and outstanding issues remain under consideration through established engagement processes involving the SRC. The university is committed to keeping all our campuses open and fully operational in the service of our students, our staff, and the broader community.
Zimbabwe's National Democratic Working Group has petitioned the African Union to intervene to stop the ruling ZANU-PF party from amending the country's constitution to extend President Emmerson Mnangagwa's term of office. Group leader Job Sigala says they've asked the AU to invoke its own protocols which Zimbabwe is violating.
The fifth point, which we are relying upon, is the manipulation of the constitutional processes in a member state for them to prolong the leader of the term of office of the incumbent. This provision of the prolongation or extension of the terms of office of the incumbent was put in place after Africa has faced several challenges by many regimes and many governments that have been trying to extend their terms of office after their two terms have come to an end.
The top story, the families of the victims of apartheid-era human rights violations say they feel betrayed by the democratic state in their quest for justice for their loved ones. That's SAFM News, I'm Greg Khus.
In sports, the SAL World Cup ticket prices skyrocket on FIFA resale site, and Crusaders launch title defense as Super Rugby Pacific kicks off. More details at 5:30.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting off in Gauteng, the N17 eastbound in Boksburg, queuing towards Rondebolt Road. The R55 northbound in Crawthorne has delays towards Tambuti Road, and SK Mpahleli Drive northbound in Pretoria has delays towards Moot Street. In KZN, the M13 westbound in Kloof, queuing near Pioneer Road. The M1 Higginson Highway westbound in Chatsworth, queuing towards Westcliff exit, and a stationary vehicle on the N3 southbound at Cliffdale interchange. In Cape Town, Sona Highway closures include the N2 inbound from Lisburg Parkway to Hospital Bend from 5:45 until 7:30. There'll also be additional road closures in and around the CBD. The M3 Philip Khasana Drive inbound is closed from Hospital Bend. That's due to a fire in the mountain, and Jan Smuts Drive southbound in Epping, queuing towards Gunners Circle Road. With your traffic update, I'm Irma G.
When music meets nature, something unforgettable happens. Symphony by the Water, a world-class live music experience set against the breathtaking beauty of Midmar Dam, featuring the KZN Philharmonic Orchestra, Spogazi, the Black Lapels, Saturday, the 7th of March, 2026. Day tickets from $150, evening tickets from $350. Tickets available at WebTicket and Pick and Pay. Symphony by the Waters, where sound flows.
BVB's current mission is to stay close to the log leaders and win every match in the second round of the league. Meanwhile, the Carnival Club is eager to reveal their secret plan on match day. This is the Bundesliga, football as it's meant to be. Catch Borussia Dortmund versus FSV Mainz on Friday, 13 February at 9:30 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC Sport on TTT Channel 4. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
President Cyril Ramaphosa will on Thursday, 12 February, deliver the 2026 State of the Nation Address at the Cape Town City Hall. Tune in to the meeting point with Koketso Sachane with a special broadcast from 6 p.m. bringing you blow-by-blow coverage at the 2026 State of the Nation Address.
Kathy Motlatlana on SAFM.
If you're ready to talk, I'm here to listen and nothing is off the agenda. Join me on the Talking Point every day from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. Only on SAFM.
The National Pulse with Ashraf Garda on SAFM. You're listening to the National Pulse, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m.
So, what makes a good SONA? And what has been the best SONA democratic South Africa has ever had? Think about it. Tell me, too. Let's get further reaction ahead of what's expected. Some more expectations reaction, right? So the IFP expects President Ramaphosa to deliver a comprehensive and action-oriented State of the Nation address. I think many people would say the same. Let's find out more about their position with the IFP's Chief Whip, Nhlanhla Radebe. I appreciate your time and thanks for joining us on the National Pulse.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Well, I think, look, just about everybody I've spoken to, they want to see beyond just promises that are hollow, that are empty, that don't actually work, into something really tangible. What about you?
Well, it's a hope, an expectation that we have that when the President delivers his State of the Nation address, that he addresses and commit to some of the challenges that are facing this country, like the issue of growing the economy, the issue of education, the issue of safety and security, especially putting more emphasis on securing our borders, and the issue of putting more resources to SAPS. Those are some of the issues that we wish the President addresses.
Okay, and in terms of wishing he addresses it, what would you like him to say? That means what would you like to hear from him that would please you?
Well, like I have said, that on the issue of safety and security, we believe that if he can commit more resources to SAPS, they will be able to tackle the issue of crime, the issue of gender-based violence and femicide, the issue of securing our borders. That is on the issue of safety and security. On the issue of water, the much talked about challenge that we are facing in some part of our country, we would wish to hear the President committing to the issue of infrastructure, addressing the issue of new infrastructure and the infrastructure maintenance. Many of our towns and cities are facing the issue of aging and dilapidated infrastructure. More resources are needed in that.
Okay, and if they say they don't have the money for that, because we've heard that regarding water, they don't have the money?
That is the issue that we would want to hear the President talking about, that the Minister of Finance, working together with the Minister of Water and Sanitation, working together with the Minister of COGTA, if the plans that they have announced can get more support from the President. You know that, and you remember that the President, the executive authority of the Republic is vested in the President. So we expect the President, as the head of state, to commit to addressing those issues.
One of them, infrastructure development is an important one, the issue of unemployment and education and many other issues we touch on every day. All of that links to economic growth, to be able to
business.
Yeah, all of that. How then should,
supporting
what's the fuel then to fuel economic growth?
Can you repeat that again?
Yeah, I was saying, if there's a need for economic growth, what would be the fuel for
that? Infrastructure development can assist. Coming up with policies that will invite and encourage investors from abroad. We need them. Yes.
All right. What are your thoughts on what was said last year versus now? Meaning, how much of what was said was actually delivered?
There is a slight development and improvement from what was delivered last year, although we feel there is still room for improvement. You know that from the last year's SONA, South Africa was removed from the grey listing, the GDP. Yes, those are some of the small, few developments from last year's SONA. We believe that if the president can put more effort building from 2025 SONA, moving forward from 2026 SONA, positives can be achieved and attained.
Just the last thing, what's your thoughts on the overall effectiveness of a SONA? Because some believe it's very important, others feel like it's just a complete waste of time. In fact, many callers are very critical of it.
SONA is important because it is an opportunity for the head of state to make pronouncements and commitments to enlighten the nation on how he intends to address the challenges that the people of this country are facing. It is very much important. We believe that the SONA or having SONA is a golden opportunity for government to pronounce and commit on issues of development and service delivery.
Okay. Just lastly, and yes, he's going to say lots of different things, but and you've already mentioned many of them, but if there's just one thing that you want him to say, what would that be?
Support small business, support small-scale farmers, support, address the issue of youth unemployment, grow the economy. Those are our priorities.
Okay, let's see how does he respond to all of those things. Much appreciate your time here on the National Pulse, right? Thank you for that. And that, of course, is this, right? Speaking just from an IFP perspective, and you can see different parties have different views on that. Some of the other parties we reached out to pretty hectic at this point in time, so we'll just put that on pause, but it doesn't mean you're on pause, because your thoughts do matter. This is the National Pulse.
SAFM is streaming live now on Facebook, YouTube, and X at SAFM Radio.
Right, let's get some of the responses we've had. A lot of it on water, predictably, understandably so.
Hi, Ashraf. Louis from Pretoria. Ashraf, I'm concerned about the issue of water in Gauteng, especially Pretoria. Ashraf, I used to warn my guys around Pretoria that you see this issue of Morocco. There's this Morocco from Zimbabwe. These guys, they water that plant the whole day, the whole night, even when it's raining, Monday to Sunday. They just leave the taps open, just like that. Even when they are transporting that Morocco, they must water it before they transport it. It must always have water. Hi, guys. And when we talk, we are xenophobic. Now we will face a crisis in South Africa because there are too many these guys, and they are doing the same thing.
But you think that's the biggest cause of the problems we have regarding water? I'm not discounting it. It could be a contributory factor, but is that really the biggest issue? There's more on water, and just pick out a few more comments. Here's another.
I just want you to say this again to you with due respect, sir. Ashraf, I always listen to your show, but please, guys, people like you should not advocate one side of issues. I've told you this before. I mean, we're all humans. It's not that Joburg people are more important than us. I'm from eThekwini. You must just go at eThekwini. You will see that a lot of us, especially in black areas, the municipality doesn't care if we get water or we don't get water. It's been 3 years, still counting, without water. But you guys are all about Joburg this, Joburg that, no water, economic hub. What about us? We also humans, like them. Come on, guys.
Okay, well, I wish you heard me properly, because in fact I said that. I said it 2-3 times today, that there's a water crisis throughout the country. There are so many communities that are struggling without water for, if not days, weeks, months. We know that. And I know we've spoken before. The issue of Joburg water is because it's raised now, and because the minister responsible, who should be at SONA, has been told, don't come to SONA, go and sort out the problem. Because it's Joburg. Now, that's not something to address to me. Tell that to the president. For example, I completely agree with you that there are 100 issues that needs to be put out. Flames, this is one of them. But the priority of Joburg is, in fact, a presidential priority as opposed to my priority, if you get my point. We reflect on it because that's what's happening right now. I hope that makes sense to you.
Hi, Ashraf. I'd love to comment on the issue of water in Joburg. Ashraf, I fully, sympathize with my fellow citizens in Johannesburg. However, on the flip side of things, here in Hammanskraal, we only get water running out of our taps for about 4 to 6 hours once a week, normally Friday evenings. Fortunately with us here, we've got options of pit latrines. So I fully sympathize, and welcome to the real South Africa.
Well, I mean, that goes back to the point that, yes, we talk about Joburg because it is the economic hub. You can't deny it. And the president has made a point about that it's a crisis. But that doesn't mean there's no water problems in other places. And none of them are acceptable. They're completely unacceptable. Your point about Hammanskraal is, and we've spoken about it as well before, is a manifestation of complete breakdown, service breakdown, collapse. And in some cases, water has never even been... water supply has never been instituted in the first place. So it's not a case of it like it's there but it's broken down. In fact, it was never established and it's going on for years. Now, my question to not just you and me, to the people of South Africa is, why are we accepting it?
X at SAFM Radio and at Ashraf Garda.
Right, let's talk about other issues. Well, State of the Nation, of course, is top of the agenda. To catch it, of course, we will cover, as SAFM, the State of the Nation address itself live from 7 o'clock. There's a massive build-up from before that, so there's no markets update today, predictably so, ahead of SONA. But let's then talk about, let's get another perspective. We've had political parties giving their thoughts on different issues regarding SONA. Let's get just a general analysis of what's expected and maybe what should we expect. So with me is Thabiso Ndebele, who's associate partner at Intiyiso Consulting Group. Thabiso, thanks for joining us on the National Pulse.
Good afternoon to you and your listeners.
Thank you. So every year we have the SONA, we evaluate our State of the Nation, and we leave it to the president to do that. What about you, firstly? Let's start with that. What do you feel? What is the state of our nation?
Well, I think the last 12 months have had some positives from an economic improvement perspective, from an inflation perspective, and I think it's quite important to build up on that. That's the first point. The second one is, of course, we just spoke about it in the last 3 minutes. It's the water crisis amongst everything else, and therefore the president, the state, really has to focus on these key issues for our own sustainability. You can only be but a better nation if we resolve those issues. So let's really appreciate some of the work that has gone into the last 12 months, the presence of the G20, and everything else that has come with it. So a better base compared to the previous year, where the budget, for example, took 3 revisions to actually get approved.
Absolutely. So what then has been the success stories of the last year?
So I think the plenty. So the very first one, which might not have been in the many people's minds, is being moved away from the grey listing of the Financial Action Task Force, because what they would have done is really increase the risk premium of borrowing money for our own development. We shouldn't take it for granted that we've been removed away from that. Second one, we look at the inflation over the last 6-12 months, and I think the reflection again, yes, as a function of the exchange rate and the Brent crude oil, is slightly lower energy costs, slightly lower fuel costs. And of course, that is coupled with the stable food prices. The third one, which we now again seem to take it for granted, load shedding, yes, right? So there are cases of load reduction in certain areas, but in terms of consistent power delivery, that has actually galvanized some of the manufacturing sectors, or some of the sectors, including manufacturing, industrialization, etc. So there have been a couple of small wins that we have achieved over the last 6 to 12 months.
To then move on to today, what do you expect the president to be saying today?
He needs to really be more assertive around the economic growth and fiscal discipline. There needs to be intentions around how we're going to do that. The second one, perhaps linked to the governance, is really how to be resolve the issue of the municipalities, the infrastructure issues that we spoke about now, so that people have the confidence to say we are paying attention to all of these things. The third one, it's really optimizing and ensuring, and this is not a budget speech, but laying the vision around how are we progressing as a country for at least the next 2 years. Amongst years, there's local elections, but how are we going to keep on this trajectory that will, of course, lead to a much greater economic growth for the country? So he really needs to be more assertive around those areas. And, of course, he can get into details around each and every one of them.
There's also been talk, and I hear the acting minister of police has alluded to potentially, whether it's the army or some intervention regarding the gang warfare in the Western Cape. What sort of message does that send out?
It's got to be the one that says we acknowledge the challenge, we are addressing it systematically, but beyond our borders. Yes, it affects the citizens. We want people to know that we address such issues, and this is a character of a powerhouse in the continent. We can't just let such issues we roll over such issues. We need to be intentional about that. So, yes, there might be tough teams that are established, but he's got to talk about it. It's got to be clear around what issue or those issues that we're dealing with. And it's going to be very similar to how we had to, yes, maybe his hand was forced in the middle of the G20 summit, where we had to declare the views against women and children as a national pandemic. Sends a very strong statement around what the country is doing, what policies are being formulated to actually address those issues. So his voice is very important, Ashraf.
And this is also the second one, right? The second GNU SONA. I suppose people like yourself would look at it and say the tone of a GNU SONA is very different from the tone of an ANC government SONA.
Definitely. I think we have to accept that it will, of course, mature over time. It really, Ashraf, if it takes the likes of, and I'm no IFP supporter per se, but when you start to listen to the members of the GNU, and I mentioned Minister Hlabisa, and he talks about how such systems work in other countries, how they had to research as to how do they make it work. you realize that, of course, there is some maturity levels that we still yet to establish. So yes, I think this year we have a much stable platform of which these entities or these parties are governing from, and we hope for better results.
Okay. And just lastly, I mean, you have obviously many things on your wish list. You've alluded to it already. But if I gave you the choice of just wishing that just one thing absolutely is said by the president and implemented by the president, of all the hundreds of priorities, what would be for you your number one?
Let's get our industrialization and innovation platforms well set up. We will not save ourselves to greatness, pardon me. Therefore, how we drive our industry, whether it is service, whether it's manufacturing, how do we drive our network of industries, it's quite important, Ashraf. And therefore, yes, let's deal with the current challenges of the infrastructures, the different sorts of infrastructure, but let's look forward to being the next Singapore.
Okay, let's look forward to being the next Singapore. I'd love it if we have a conversation, 20 years from now. So remember when South Africa was once that small country and now it's even bigger than Singapore? Now that would be something. And I don't mean geographic size. Well, listen, appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us. And let's see if that point about industrialization takes place today in terms of it being a galvanizing force to being this next Singapore. Well, I say champion nation. Can we get there? Thank you for your time, Tabiso Indebele, Associate Partner at the Intiiso Consulting Group. Right, more to come. It certainly gives us a chance to take more of your thoughts, and we have many of your thoughts, so we'll pick up on that as well. And a reminder, you can call in live, or you can send us a WhatsApp. You can also tweet, and you can send us text messages as well. All of that and more. And did I tell you, today is Thursday, right? Yes, it is. Tomorrow, being a Friday, we have a fascinating guest on the Friday Fireside Chat that is very, very quotable, because he always is, and he has lots and lots and lots to say. And I'll give you his name after the news. Right now, 5:30, here's the news headlines.
Thank you, Ashraf. A quick look at those headlines. The Northern Cape status as a foot-and-mouth disease-free zone is officially ended. The families of the victims of apartheid-era human rights violations say they feel betrayed by the democratic state in their quest for justice, and vote counting is underway in Bangladesh after its first election since an uprising that toppled former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. There's a full update at 6 o'clock.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting off in Gauteng, the N12 eastbound in Benoni has a crash before Tom Jones Street, the N17 eastbound in Boksburg, queuing towards Rondeboult Road, and Allendale Road eastbound in Midrand has delays towards Dane Road. In KZN, the M4 northbound has a crash after Bayhead Road Bridge, Umgeni Road westbound slow moving through Springfield Park, and the N3 southbound a crash at Van Reenens Pass. In Cape Town, due to the Sony event tonight, road closures in and around the CBD until midnight will be in place. The M5 southbound, queuing towards the N2 highway exit, and Main Road is slow moving through the Rosebank as well as Rondebosch areas. With your traffic update, I'm Irma G.
This is SAFM Sports with Tuming Kapele.
Right, Tumi's got an eye on sport, our own State of the Nation address, right?
Yeah, fans looking to resell World Cup tickets are listing them at sharply high prices on FIFA's official site. A Category 3 ticket for the opening match in Mexico City is selling for over $5,300, just over 84,000 rands, and compared to its original price of $895, which is around 14,000 rands. Then for the final in New Jersey, one seat is listed at nearly $144,000. That's around 2.2 million rand, more than 40 times its face value. And the cheapest resale ticket for the final is just under $10,000, 150,000 rand. Ashraf, if you were to buy a ticket for 2.2 million rand, which two clubs or countries would you be willing to pay such a high fee for?
There's no way I'll buy a ticket for 2.2, so I can't even guess. I mean, if I had to spend any money to go and see one one country
Yeah.
play a football match that truly matters to me, it actually would be South Africa, because we'll be like in the World Cup final. I don't mean in the tournament, in the final.
Mhm.
But 2.2 million?
Sure. That's a lot.
Unless it's liras. Yeah.
That's a lot. Meanwhile, still staying with football, Stellenbosch FC defender Siviwe Nkwali says that the club has drawn valuable lessons from their CAF Confederations Cup campaign and are determined to use the experience as fuel in their push to return next season.
In the continental, with this, the level is a bit higher, and like the physique also. So we have learned that we have to be strong, more stronger, and the level we play on a high tempo. So yeah, that's the positive side from. Yeah, it is a target from, because especially at the start of the season, our goal is to play every tournament or cup that is there that we can play. So now that the Nedbank is there and the league, we will challenge for it to win it, or in the league at least get to the top 4 or 3.
Elsewhere, Thomas Tuchel has extended his contract as England manager through to Euro 2028, keeping him in charge for the home European Championship hosted across the UK and Ireland. Tuchel, who took over in January 2025, says that he was very happy and proud to continue calling the chance to lead England into home Euros a rare opportunity. Now, the FA moved quickly to secure continuity before the summer's World Cup amid speculation linking Tuchel with Manchester United, where he previously met co-owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe during managerial talks. Then, in terms of rugby, the Crusaders begin their Super Rugby Pacific title defense against the Highlanders tomorrow in Dunedin, fielding a squad with 11 All Blacks under captain David Havili. Now, coach Rob Penny's side are chasing a record 14th crown after beating the Chiefs in last year's final, and New Zealand skipper Scott Barrett is absent on a sabbatical. In terms of cricket, Dasun Shanaka hit the fastest T20 50 by a Sri Lankan, powering the co-host to a 105-run win over Oman in the T20 World Cup. Sri Lanka posted a tournament high of 225 for 5 with centuries from Pavan Rathnayake and Kusal Mendes. And Shanaka's 19-ball blitz included 5 sixes and 2 fours. In terms of tennis, Thomas Paul advanced to the round of 16 of the Nexo Dallas Open with a hard-fought comeback victory, claiming a 4-6, 6-4 and 7-6 win over Jensen Brooksby and in an all-American round of 32 matchup. Meanwhile, in terms of athletics, Khotso Mokoena believes that Luvo Manyonga has what it takes to qualify for the Team South Africa for the upcoming Commonwealth Games as he continues his comeback from a 4-year doping ban. Now, Manyonga returned to competition after his suspension ended in December 2024 and has shown glimpses of his old form with a series of encouraging jumps. With a qualifying standard set at 8.5 meters for the Games in Glasgow, Scotland, which is from the 23rd of July to the 2nd of August, Mokoena is confident the former world champion can reach the mark. On that note, it is a wrap from my side.
I need to ask you this question. So if you have to buy a ticket for 2.2 million rands, which football match, which country would you buy it for, or which club?
I wouldn't.
Okay. Then there's
I
no
just
discount.
wouldn't. 2.2 million rand.
Yeah.
Sure.
Goodbye.
Anyway, with that said, ke nna Tumi Nkgapele, Modimo ke yo.
The soundtrack of your life with Ernest Pillay.
Some songs take you back instantly to your first love, a road trip, or just simpler times. The soundtrack of your life with me, Ernest Pillay, is where timeless hits and forgotten favorites come together to tell your story. It's not just music, it's memories, moments, and the meaning behind this jam.
Don't you change someone by night.
Rediscover the songs that shaped your journey. Tune in to The Soundtrack of Your Life with me, Ernest Pillay, Saturdays and Sundays, 1 to 4 p.m., only on SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide.
Standing on his own.
Right, applications at UNISA's Thabo Mbeki African School of Public and International Affairs, that's the TM school, are now open. Apply for the Master of Arts in Public Policy and International Affairs, the Doctor of Philosophy in Public Policy and International Affairs, or one of 17 short learning programs. The Thabo Mbeki School, training leaders who solve complex problems in Africa and beyond. For more information, send an email to tm, then tm-school@unisa.ac.za. You got that? tm-school@unisa.ac.za. UNISA, define tomorrow.
For 90 years, one voice has informed, challenged, and connected a nation. SAFM, South Africa's national English public radio station. Established in 1936 as the SABC's very first service, the A program evolving through the English service, Radio South Africa, to SAFM in 1995, shaping thought and strengthening democracy. From a full spectrum station to a trusted home of news and talk, SAFM continues to lead the conversations 90 years strong. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. X at SAFM Radio and at Ashraf Garda.
Right, no Jimmy Moyaha today, no SFM market update, which means we don't cross to him now because of the special coverage leading to Sona, 6 to 7, pre-Sona itself. We take it live from 7 p.m. Now, it means I can talk to you. You're connected to the Pulse. I need to feel you.
Good afternoon, Ashraf. I'm Bafana Kumalo in Memel. Everything in our country demands a state of emergency. However, local government and the army has to be prioritized. Local government is the cold face of service delivery. Therefore, I'm hopeful that the state president is going to come up with practical solutions that will lead to better service delivery in our municipalities. I'm Bafana Kumalo.
Okay, well, listen, I agree. So I was having a chat with someone today, and we said that if there are 10 things that are fundamental to South Africans, like probably 7 or 8 do not work well. They're broken. Sure, at national and local.
Hi, Ashraf. Mahari here from Amanda. You know what? Not having water is so frustrating. Even when that water comes back, it is brown. You know, we can't even drink it anymore. You have to buy drinking water. And then for Banyaza to come and say that he showered at the hotel. At least he has money to go to a hotel and get a shower. What about people who don't have money? I'm so tired, really, really, really. This ANC has made a mockery of our country.
Well, just to remind people, thank you for that. Just to remind people, this is what the Premier of Gauteng said in relation to responding to the fact that, you know, they don't have special water pipes at their home, that, you know, privileges. And he said, we struggle like everybody else, and made the point like, look at me. You know, I struggle when I have no water. I have to go to the hotel to get ready for my conferences or meetings, something like that. He's since apologized for that. But somebody talks about it as a Marie Antoinette moment. If you can't have, you know, milk, if you can't have bread, have cakes. If you can't have water, go to a hotel and get some fancy water there.
Yeah, Ashraf, Widya and Kuma. Ashraf, I'm not going to listen to this invidious and inequitous State of Nation address. The boring one, the repeating, the repetition of what is being repeated for almost 6 years ago, with promises, zero fulfillment of promises. It's disgusting. Thank you. It's Willie Nkuma.
Thank you for that. Right. And there's another comment on water.
Good day, Ashraf and the SAFM listeners. Just listening to the pastor there from ACDP talking about the 80s and water access. I wonder where he got access from, because majority of us as South Africans, we didn't have access to tap water. So yes, there might be problems with water now, but at least majority now is having access. Though we're still having a lot of people that are remaining that still need access to water. Mbuzeni in the Eastern Cape.
Okay, you interesting point you bring up to say, remember at that time there was like nothing. That doesn't make it okay now. It just is a point, isn't it?
A very good day to you, Afrat, and your guest there. Can you please ask Ndate Mishwe, does he still support Israel today? Thank you very much, Afrat. Marvin in Bloemfontein.
Thanks. I think you know the answer to that. He was praiseworthy even in his compliments now. Right, Lazarus from the Free State. Hi, Lazarus.
Hi, good evening, Ashraf. How are you?
I'm good indeed. What's your point?
Yeah, just one point, quick one. So, Ashraf, I think I agree with, a caller from Bloemfontein, it's Thabo Tabiso, just before you went to the news. He has a point. I think this thing is all nice and all that when it's on TV and you're all seeing all the arms of the state coming together under one roof. But the reality is, I like what the president did today, to say if there's a crisis in Johannesburg of water, those two ministers should...
Yeah, do I still have you there? Yeah. Lazarus? I think we just but I got the gist of what you're saying, that you say you like the priority of saying, even if there's a SONA, there's a crisis in Joburg, I need my minister to go and deal with it. Yeah. Okay. Let's play that voicemail. Right. Let me just get that right. Okay, here we are.
Good afternoon, Ashraf. We as citizens, we have a constitution that can help us to fight this government. But we are talking and talking and talking with nothing to do. The same as this government that is going to talk and talk and talk with nothing to do. But
I mean, do you really think there's like nothing to do? You know, I don't know. That means almost like he mustn't even have a SONA. No, man.
Hi, Ashraf. I'd love to comment on the issue of water in Joburg. Ashraf, I fully, sympathize with my fellow citizens in Johannesburg. However, on the flip side of things, here in Hammanskraal, we only get water running out of our taps for about 4 to 6 hours once a week, normally Friday evenings. Fortunately with us here, we've got options of pit latrines. So I fully sympathize and welcome to the real South Africa.
Okay, my apology. I played that before. I'm not too sure why I didn't delete. But the point is taken. And I think it's a question that people in the big cities should be asking the people of Hammanskraal. Like, so seriously, how then do you survive? And in what world in South Africa right now, a country that has hosted big tournaments, big global events like G20 as well, how are we not getting our water issues right?
How are you, Ashraf? I'm fine, thanks, and you? We are tired of Mr. Ramaphosa's speech. Always come and tell us where he buys his cheap shoes, his cheap suit and socks. And always come and tell us for that man who saved 350 rands from the Grand Relief Fund. He always say that person is save it and open, and he goes and open an ice cream shop. We are sick and tired of that. We want to hear only about development. Anonymous.
You only want to hear about development. Okay, to Mthatha we go. Bruce, you want to talk about water as well? Bruce, hello?
Yes, hello.
Yeah, go for it.
How are you?
I'm good. What's your point?
Yeah, the people of Joburg must welcome to our world. I bought a house for my parents in a place called Bedford in Mthatha. Yeah, that place is not even 8 kilometers from the river that supplies water, like to the whole of Umtata. We have been that place not have water for the past 10 years. But it's not far from the river that is overflowing with water. It's sheer incompetence of our people, engineers from the municipality, that we don't have water. Yeah.
Right, I hear that. And again, you see, Bruce, your point, the deep frustration that people like you experience and that others experience in the country. And I mean, the question is, why is that even ever acceptable? It is not, isn't it? Thanks for that, Bruce. And thanks for sharing your story. Tragically so. Peter in Soweto, hello.
Hello, Ashraf, how are you?
Yeah, good. How's it, Peter? Go for it.
And it's good day to the listeners too. You know, the Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa idea of contesting the ANC presidency has worked for you. You know, and everybody knows why he did so. So far, it means if you are a minister and you are not at the Senate today, like tonight, you're not going to be there. You will be at the ground, like what he placed Miss Majo MEC for Copter to go on the ground. You are at work. So if you are a minister and you are at SONA, you are not at work. So it means, according to the president, no one is at work at the SONA. He's the only one who's at work there. You see how unfair it is.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, but look, sometimes you need to be part of a conference as well. Although, to balance that out, you have to be part of a conference. But if there's a crisis, you have to go and sort out the crisis, which clearly is what the president has done. So, point noted from you, Peter, in Soweto. Right, there's more from many of the people. Of course, there's more talk about SONA too.
Hi, Ashraf. Good afternoon, Ashraf. Let's take it is good for the president to make this announcement, but why don't he please do it virtually, as he usually do when he do the family meeting? People are without water here in Johannesburg. Really, this is very embarrassing. We don't have money to go bath in the hotels, please.
Okay, I agree about that. Neither do I have the money to go and bath in a hotel. But listen, a SONA is not the same as a family meeting. I mean, we must make that distinction, right? Okay, more thoughts from you, wherever you are, in the country, in the world, after this.
So you thought you were building a business in this economy, but day by day, somehow it grew. You kept going when the freezer didn't freeze, the bucket didn't budge, and the bank balance barely blinked. So you thought you were building a business. You weren't. It was building you. Because this isn't just what you do anymore, it's who you are. And you don't trust just anybody to protect it. Chat to your broker about Old Mutual Insure Business Insurance. Protect what built you. Old Mutual Insure Limited is a licensed FSP and non-life insurer.
BVB's current mission is to stay close to the log leaders and win every match in the second round of the league. Meanwhile, the Carnival Club is eager to reveal their secret plan on match day. This is the Bundesliga, football as it's meant to be. Catch Borussia Dortmund versus FSV Mainz on Friday, 13 February at 9:30 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC Sport on TTT Channel 4. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
President Cyril Ramaphosa will on Thursday, 12 February, deliver the 2026 State of the Nation Address at the Cape Town City Hall. Tune in to the meeting point with Koketso Sachane with a special broadcast from 6 p.m., bringing you blow-by-blow coverage at the 2026 State of the Nation Address. This is Dula Sizwe Simelane on the Morning Brief.
One of our listeners listening to this conversation is calling you out and saying Selby is being untruthful. The city takes on average 5 days to respond to reports of burst meter or pipes, and you need to be following up too many times for them to respond.
And Tula, that person is correct, because I, for one, get
people who say to me, we have reported this matter 2 months ago, and once it is escalated to me, I give to my colleagues. Some of my colleagues even ignore me when I tell them this. And then I go directly to the mayor, and when the mayor tells them to do it, they do it. So yes, some of these problems are self-inflicted. Some communities do inform us of this, and we don't respond.
That's Selby Bukaba, spokesperson of the city of Tshwane there.
Big stories of the day on the Morning Brief.
I have my eyes on that red carpet, and it's interesting to see how different people, political leaders and their partners, how they respond to, and how the cameras respond to when they hit the red carpet, right? Okay, note this. Applications at UNISA's Thabo Mbeki African School of Public and International Affairs are now open. Apply for the Master of Arts in Public Policy and International Affairs, the Doctor of Philosophy in Public Policy and International Affairs, or one of our 17 short learning programs. The Thabo Mbeki School training leaders who solve complex problems in Africa and beyond. If you need to know more, send an email to tm-school at unisa.ac.za. UNISA, define tomorrow.
Ashraf Garda on the National Pulse.
Right, let's pick up. There's been very little about commissions today, understandably. Somebody has one.
Hey, Ashraf, it's Daniel from Durban. I'm hoping that the government of the day bring more employment, get jobs for people, and open all our factories back. Factories have been closed, companies, corporates are leaving, companies are closing down, there's no jobs. You get people that are educated, they're just being cashiers in all these retail stores because there's no economic growth. Thanks, Ashraf. Daniel Durban.
Thanks, Daniel. I think it's an important question. How do you move from a society of no jobs to a society of plenty jobs? Big challenge.
Afternoon, Uncle Ashraf and the listeners. I think the previous caller was actually right. I mean, a lot more people will be watching the sauna from home in any case. The only people that will be watching it live are the people present at the venue. And they're a much tinier percentage than the rest of us. It's a valid question. Why can't they just have a broadcast like during COVID times, and then comes Monday, we all pick it apart. The politicians pick it apart in Parliament, etc. Profound in Durban.
Well, you could say the same thing. Like, why would it then broadcast?
How are you?
Why would we then have the politicians in terms of their response to Sona being broadcast live? Because that also comes at a cost, right? You know that.
Shoes.
Good afternoon, Mr. Atraf and your producer and all the listeners of SAFM. Mr. Atraf, I like to talk regard to Mr. Mabuyane. Mr. Mabuyane doesn't care about Eastern Cape. The only care is like to feed their friends, give their friends tenders and all of those things. Eastern Cape is very, very poor, Mr. Atraf. Poor. The gravel road, if it's raining, we can't be able to go. I don't know why they are still in the premier of Eastern Cape, Mr. Oscar Mabuyane. Seriously, that is my concern here from Cape Town.
All right, you're saying he's looking after his friends only. We're bound to get a response from others about the leadership of Oscar Mabuyane. There's more.
Afternoon, Uncle Ashraf and the listeners.
I'm not too sure.
I think the previous.
Sorry, man. My apology. Late afternoon. You know that. Right. Let's see. We've done that. Okay. Here's another. Hopefully, I have not played this one before.
Hi, Ashraf. Good afternoon. I am Mahado from Matatiel. Ashraf, in relation to the sauna, what I'm expecting from the president is to say, let us not leave anyone behind, and nothing can be reported as action plan has been made. Thank you.
Okay, I mean that's pretty sober. Let us not leave anybody behind, isn't it?
Oh, and Ashraf, it makes sense that the president went to Cape Town to have this meeting and with the army, because there's people dying. The gangsterism is too much, Okay, yeah, we know the people don't have water in Johannesburg, but they're not dying. People are not dying of thirst, but there in Cape Town, people are dying. and something needs to be done, and the army is going to step in with the order of the president. Thanks.
You're saying it made sense for the president to have this meeting in Cape Town. I'm really losing you about that one. The second question is about whether we should have the army deployed to the Cape Flats. That's a different conversation, which may come up today.
Afternoon, Ashraf and SAFM listeners. This is Kongwan from Coffee Bay. We have had no water for 10 months. I'm telling you now, 10 months, no water in the taps. Yeah, it is terrible.
Completely unacceptable. I mean, really. Here's one that came up about G20.
It's Kayango Sinkolo here. Look, one amongst the things that I expect from the president today. Look, not long ago, we hosted G20 in the country, and we made serious declaration, convincing declaration, growth of economy and so forth. But he fails dismally to mention ethical leadership. And I hope tonight he's going to emphasize and talk about ethical leadership amongst his administration. I hope, amongst other things, ethical leadership must be the center of his State of the Nation.
Okay, let's see if that happens.
Good afternoon, Ashraf and the team. Trust you guys are blessed this afternoon. There was a time in the season, in the space, and the period that we used to sing the song Senze Nina, Senze Nina. I think looking at the current situation with our leaders, that song speaks even louder now than it spoke in years before. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, there we are. It's certainly a message, a plea about where we are and what are we now. Yeah. Is it time again for that? Let's just see if I've got time for one more comment. No, I don't think so. I think we played most of them that we've got here. Listen, let me remind you. So what's happening now, of course, there's no markets because we have a special preview of the SONA, which Koketso will host. That goes until 7. Then we have the actual SONA at 7 o'clock, and SFM will cover all of that. So for you, thanks for listening. Oh, Party La Hotla. That's it. That's my guest tomorrow for the Fireside Chat. Almost forgot about it. Do not miss that, right? Here's the news at 6 with Greg.
Thank you so much, Ashraf. An outbreak of foot and mouth disease in the Northern Cape, and families of apartheid-era crimes speak out. Good evening. The Northern Cape status as a foot and mouth disease-free zone is officially ended. The Department of Agriculture and Environmental Affairs in the province has delivered more than 600 vaccines to a farm in Kuruman that now has an outbreak. Provincial Agriculture MEC Lebogang Motlaping.
Farmers are urged to really stop transporting animals because for this FMD to spiral out of control, it won't just happen. It will happen